in Islamic fintech and banking aims to bridge the gap between theoretical values and real world applications. Ladies and gentlemen, to formally start the session, I would like to invite the first speaker of the session, Dr. Rashid Mansoor. Dr. Mansoor is the head of Sharia at Wali Financial Services, and he'll be talking about revolutionizing Islamic social finance through fintech. I would also like to invite on stage Syed Asghar Hussain, Executive Vice President and Head Digital Supply Chain Finance at Rakami Islamic Digital Bank, Pakistan. I would like to invite on stage Syed Asghar Hussain. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Ilsam Offer on stage, who is basically the Chief Operating Officer at LOLC Microfinance Bank. Now I would like to invite on stage Mufti Usama Ehsan, Member Sharia Board, Bank Al Falah. Thank you everyone for your esteemed presence. Along with the physical presence of our guest, we'll be joining online by Professor Dr. Aisha Muniza from INSEEF University, Malaysia, Dr. Iram Sabah, Director General for Excellence in Islamic Finance Institute of Business Administration, and Mufti Muhammad Najib, who is the Chairman Sharia Board, Bank Makrama Limited. To formally begin the session, I would like to invite on stage Dr. Rashid Mansoor first. He'll be talking about revolutionizing Islamic social finance through fintech.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. The topic that I'll be presenting today is a little bit different from what our esteemed colleague announced, because revolving around the theme of this conference, and just like Mr. Tariq Naseem Saab prior to lunch talked about the purification of income for different companies. So my topic today will be related as well. I'll be going through an exercise on the hypothetical Sharia conversion of a digital lender in Pakistan. So without further ado, why do we need this case? Why do we need to discuss this case? Obviously, I won't have the time to go into details, but I'll skim through the main points of this exercise in order to get the bigger picture of how this exercise can be undertaken in a country like Pakistan, particularly for a digital lender. So why this case? Because digital lending is booming, and so is its Sharia non-compliance. So there are many Sharia non-compliant digital lenders out there. So particularly in relevance to the recent constitutional amendment in Pakistan, if we have to convert all financial operations into Islamic, we need to have a framework whereby digital lenders can also undertake this exercise successfully. So these digital lenders are also, characterized by predatory pricing, lack of transparency. SECP has tried to create a stranglehold on them right now, create new regulations, bring more ethicality into their practices. However, true ethicality can only come with Sharia compliance. Without Sharia compliance, it can be ethical in name only. So this is the reason behind the need for discussing such a case. So the main assumption of this case will be that this lender will be one of the top 3 lenders in Pakistan. It will disperse loans from its own balance sheet, own equity. It will not be taking deposits. Its average tenure will be very few days, 30 days, let's say. And its revenue will mainly comprise interest and late payment penalty. And all the interest and penalty incomes that it will have earned will have been reinvested into its business. So based on these assumptions, we need to be able to we need to be cognizant of the challenges that we are going to face in such an exercise. So the first challenge would be the challenge of the scale and complexity of this exercise. So because we will have high because we're talking about digital lenders, and we're talking about particularly nano lenders. In the previous slide, the average loan size that I presented to you was PKR 8,000, which is a very small amount. So this is in the nano category, not even micro. So there will be a very high volume of low value transactions, and there will be thousands of transactions. There will be because of which conventional purifications methods will not work. So we'll have to come up with new methods that will work in a digital environment. This will require automated classification of interest versus principal, and significant data handling. So we will need to have a very strong data science team at hand that will be able to handle this exercise and assist in the process. So the second challenge that would be faced would be the conversion cutoff and measurement of your assets and liabilities. So you need to be, when you take the decision to convert from conventional lending operations to Sharia compliant, you will start your Sharia compliant operations. However, there will be inflows of interest incomes and revenue incomes from unpaid loans in the past. So this will create complexities. So you need to have a clear cutoff date where you're able to identify how much of your principal is outstanding, how much of interest are outstanding, which amounts need to be waived, which amounts need to go to charity, etc., etc. So a very prominent challenge that will be incurred in this case will be dealing with prohibited income, because interest cannot be recognized as revenue according to the rules and principles of the Sharia. So when it cannot be recognized as revenue, whilst previously you were treating it as legitimate revenue, not only interest but also penalty amounts, this will create problems for your financials. You'll have to revisit your historical financials. This will need involvement of all stakeholders, their buy-in, their support. This will need close coordination with the Sharia Advisory Committee or board. And whatever amount in interest had remained uncollected at that cutoff date would have to be waived off. So you would not be able to collect more interest payments. You would not be able to collect more penalty payments. They will have to be waived off. So your interest that is accrued but uncollected will have to be waived off. What will be recoverable will be your principal amounts. Lakum ru'usu amwalikum, as the Quran says. So you will only be able to recover your principal amounts and whatever legitimate actual costs that you had incurred in the disbursement of those loans in the first place. So so you will have to have a clear bifurcation between halal and haram dues. Then you will have to take a borrower level purification approach. What do I mean by this? The purification approach cannot be transaction centric or based on transactions, because you'll have a very high volume of transactions where you'll have repeat borrower profiles. A single borrower will have taken, let's say, 10 loans, 5 loans. So if you treat each and every transaction separately, this will involve a lot of operational complexities. You'll have to identify unique borrowers, and then you will only have to identify. You will have to separate the repaid loans and the settled borrowers from the unrepaid ones. or those all due, those borrowers that are still due. So you'll have to separate them and you have to treat them separately. The formula that will have to be followed would be whatever interest amounts that have been collected, from them you'll have to deduct your direct admissible costs. What do I mean by direct admissible costs? I'll inshallah explain in the next slide. But this will give you the net payable amount that will have to be returned or refunded to each and every unique borrower who was settled in your books. And then there will be another issue of untraceable amounts. Because you have a large borrower data set, you've been working in the industry for the past, let's say, 2-3 years. So some of your customers, you have identified your unique customers, you have identified those customers who have repaid their loans on time or with delay, but they have still repaid them. But some of them have deceased. Some of them have closed their accounts. Some of them have closed their digital wallets. They have deleted their apps, deactivated their accounts. So these are untraceable amounts. When they're untraceable, and despite your extensive due diligence, you cannot return them to their original owners. You'll have to direct them to charity under the supervision of the Sharia board. Then, how do you calculate your admissible costs? What do I mean by admissible costs? When you obtain an interest-based loan, when you give out an interest-based loan, and the interest payment is given to you on time, and you realize that you have you have committed a grave sin, you want to compensate for this sin. So you will return the amount that you obtained from the interest amount that you obtained from the borrower back to them, refund it to them, because you have no right over such an amount. This amount does not belong to you. However, the Sharia does allow you to deduct those costs that you incurred because that were directly related to the loan that you disbursed to the borrower, and that were incurred because of the borrower's request. So this is what we call direct admissible costs. What do they include? They will include, as examples, they will include SMS. So OTPs, they will include notification SMSs, particularly those SMSs that are regulatory requirements. They will include your verification, all your verification charges. You have Nadra verices, you have your KYC, you have your AML CFT. They will include credit bureau fees, and then also digital transfer charges. So if whatever transfer was undertaken using IBFT, it will involve some charges. So these are your direct admissible costs that can be deducted. However, you cannot deduct your indirect expenses, such as your office rent, employees' salaries. These cannot be deducted. So once we deduct these direct admissible costs from the interest payments, interest and penalty payments received, we will arrive at the net payable amount. Another challenge in calculating this related to these costs is exactly calculating your costs. So sometimes it is not possible or not practicable to calculate your cost to the last rupee, particularly in the case of SMS. So SMS purchases are in bulk generally. So you purchase, let's say, 100,000 SMSs for a particular rate. And this is let's say this is for a whole year or for 6 months. But you end up, when the 6 months are come to a close, you end up realizing that you have not utilized this entire bundle. So your net cost will actually be higher than let's say in this example, we have taken rupees 3.75 per SMS. It will be higher. However, because you cannot directly calculate this, at your cutoff point, you'll have to take the lower bound. You'll have to go by, so if I purchase this 100,000 SMS for 3,75,000 rupees, my cost per SMS, a conservative estimate, will be 3.75 rupees per SMS. I cannot, it is not practically feasible for me to go into the details of how many SMSs were actually dispensed, how many SMSs were dispensed to each customer. So I will take some assumptions. And based on these assumptions, I will estimate my SMS. Then I'll face another problem related to sales tax, because this is we are talking about online apps. We are talking about digital apps. So these digital apps will disburse funds nationwide. So you will have some funds disbursed in Punjab, some other funds in Balochistan, some other funds in KPK. So all of these will have different sales tax rates applicable. So which sales tax rate will you take? So over here again, you'll have to estimate. You'll have to in our example, we have created a weighted weighted average sales tax, based on the transaction count per jurisdiction for each jurisdiction. So we have assigned a weight based on the transaction count. On based on that, we have calculated the sales tax that will be attributed to the total cost, which will be deducted from our interest payments in order to arrive at the net payable amount to each customer. Then we have another issue related to delinquency. So you are going to incur costs for each and every customer, both delinquent and non-delinquent. So those people who have not paid you on time, you have still sent them your SMS, you have still sent them that OTP, you have still incurred the IBFT cost. So you have incurred the cost of these customers. However, these costs cannot be transferred to the good borrowers, the non-delinquent borrowers. You cannot recover these costs from the non-delinquent borrowers. So you'll have to identify customer-specific costs. So you'll calculate your total cost, whatever cost you incurred, you'll calculate it. You'll divide it over your entire, customer base in order to arrive at the per unit cost, and then you will deduct this cost from the amount to be refunded only to the non-delinquent borrowers. The burden of the cost incurred for delinquent borrowers will not be shifted or transferred to the non-delinquent ones, and it will have to be borne by the institution. So another issue that is going to be faced is the segregation of interest and absorption of IBFT charges. So you'll have, whatever interest amounts are coming to you, it will have to be parked in a separate account. If it is a savings account, whatever income is earned on that, return is earned on that, will have to go to charity. So you'll have to maintain a charity fund where these amounts will be transferred, and then whatever payments are refunded to your borrowers as part of this purification or exercise will also again incur, because you'll be refunding them, you'll be disbursing them through digital channels, so you'll incur additional costs. But these refund costs will have to be borne by the institution. The institution will not deduct these costs from the customers. Finally, you'll have your credit bureau reporting protocol. So if your customers are not paying you on time, obviously you'll have to report your principal amounts being paid, when they're being paid, DPD what, DPD 10, DPD 20, 30, and then you have interest payments separate for reporting for that, penalty payments separate reporting for that. However, as part of this purification exercise, you will have to ensure that the interest and penalty payments are not being reported, because you cannot lay claim to dues that actually do not belong to you. So you will only report the dues regarding principal. So whichever principal payments have been paid on time will be reported as such. Whichever have been reported by delay will be reported as such. However, interest payments and penalty payments will not be reported. So this is a very brief overview of a simple income purification exercise for a digital lender in Pakistan. I know we will not be taking questions. Maybe after all speakers have taken their turn. Jazakumullah khaira. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, sir, for such an insightful session. Ladies and gentlemen, in an era where digital banking is rapidly reshaping financial services, ensuring ethical practices and Sharia compliance has become more crucial than ever. The next session will delve into how digital banks can balance innovation with risk management while upholding the values of Islamic finance. I'm honored to invite our esteemed guest, Sayyid Asghar Hussain, who is the Executive Vice President and held Digital Supply Chain Finance, Rakami Islamic Digital Bank. He'll be talking about building ethical digital banks, risk management, and Sharia compliance. Please welcome Mr. Sayyid Asghar Hussain.
Ajay ji, Assalamu alaikum. Is there anyone in the audience who does not understand Urdu? Just show of hands. No, so I can be bilingual. अच्छा, ये जनरली इस तरह के सेशंस में लंच ब्रेक के बाद ज़रा मुश्किल होता है. काफ़ी लोग तो वैसे चले जाते हैं और फिर बाकी जो होते हैं उनकी अटेंशन को ज़रा मेंटेन करना ज़रा मुश्किल होता है. अच्छा, एक کوئی اگر ہم پول کر سکیں ایک شو آف ہینڈس، اور میرا خیال ہے کہ اس پہ whoever gets it right, I'll make sure کہ ہم رقمی کی طرف سے اس کو کوئی ایک گفٹ ہیمپر جو ہے وہ بھیجیں گے. اچھا، سوال یہ ہے کہ آپ کے خیال میں پاکستان میں فائنینشیل انکلوژن کی کیا پرسنٹیج ہے اڈلٹ پاپولیشن میں؟ فائنینشیل انکلوژن کیسے ڈیفائن ہوتا ہے؟ وہ لوگ جن کے پاس یا تو بینک اکاؤنٹ ہے یا کوئی والیٹ ہے یا جیسے ایزی پیسہ، جیز کیش یا کسی بینک کا اکاؤنٹ ہے. تو کوئی گیس کر سکتا ہے کہ پاکستان میں اڈلٹ پاپولیشن کا کیا ریشیو ہے ان ٹرمز آف فائنینشیل انکلوژن؟ آپ بینک میں کام کرتے ہیں؟ اچھا، اوکے پلیز. اچھا، anybody else؟ 35%. اور کوئی؟ 30%. اچھا، اور کوئی؟ 12%. اچھا، 12. اچھا، اور 13%. اچھا، اور کوئی؟ ویری کوئکلی. اچھا، 63%. 63% پہ لوگ ہیں ایگری؟ اچھا، 75% ہو گیا. چلیں ٹھیک ہے، اتنی بڑی کوئکلی بڑھ گیا. اچھا آپ سوری 20%. اچھا ٹھیک ہے، تو یہ اسٹارٹ ہو رہا ہے، رینج کافی بڑی ہو گئی ہے، کوئی 10% سے 75% پہ چلی گئی ہے. ٹھیک ہے. اچھا، جو ابھی ریسنٹ اسٹیٹ بینک کا آیا ہے سروے نیشنل فائنینشیل انکلوژن، اس کے حساب سے 64% آف دی ایڈلٹ پاپولیشن از فائنینشیلی انکلوڈیڈ. اور یہ یونیک ہیں جن کے پاس یا تو کوئی بینک اکاؤنٹ ہے یا ان کے پاس کوئی والیٹ ہے، جیسے ایزی پیسہ، جیش کیش، سادہ پے، نیا پے اینڈ سو آن. اچھا، یہ فگر جو لوگ ابھی کوٹ کر رہے تھے نا کہ کوئی 10%، 12%، 15%، اچھا فار دا لانگیسٹ ٹائم یہ فگر کوٹ ہوتی تھی کہ یار پاکستان میں ورلڈ بینک کی رپورٹ تھی کہ 100 بلین تقریباً لوگ ہیں، 100 ملین جو کہ اڈلٹ جو ان بینکڈ ہیں. تو یہ بہت بڑی ایک نمبر بن جاتا. تو کہتے تھے یار 12% ہے، 14% ہے، 16% ہے اینڈ سو آن. بٹ یہ کہ اس کے اندر اوور اے پیریڈ آف ٹائم بہت کام ہوا ہے. اس کے اندر جو میجر کنٹریبیوٹر ہے وہ ڈیجیٹل فائنینشیل سروس پرووائڈرز ہیں، لائک ایزی پیسہ، جیش کیش، سادہ پے اینڈ دی لائکس آف دیم. اچھا، جو برک اینڈ مارٹر آپ کو بینکنگ نظر آتی ہے. اچھا، ایک اور کوئکلی پول کر لیتے ہیں. یہ بتائیں کہ آپ میں سے کتنے لوگ کوئی فائنینشیل ایپ یوز کرتے ہیں؟ شو آف ہینڈس. فائنینشیل ایپ، اپنی بینک کی ایپ یا جو بھی آپ کے موبائل پہ. چلیں گڈ، تقریباً کوئی 90% پلس ہے، رائٹ. اچھا، ان میں سے اس کا ایک فالو اپ کوشچن ہے، کتنے لوگوں کے پاس اسلامک بینک اکاؤنٹ یا فائنینشیل ایپ ہے جس کی وہ یوز کرتے ہیں؟ اوکے، تو یہ نمبر تھوڑا ڈراپ ہو کے میرا خیال ہے کوئی 40-50% پہ آ گیا ہے، رائٹ، اسی آڈینس میں. اچھا دیکھیے، یہ دس از ہاؤ وی ڈیفائن دا پرابلم اسٹیٹمنٹ. پاکستان میں آلدو بہت کام ہوا ہے فائنینشیل انکلوژن میں، اور ڈیجیٹل فائنینشیل سروسز پرووائڈرز نے بہت کام کیا ہے. اچھا، آپ نے 64% بولا تھا. اچھا، آپ نے مجھ سے پھر بعد میں وہ جو جی تو پاکستان کی طرح ہوتا ہے نا، میں کسی کو کہوں گا ان کا نمبر لینا ہے. اچھا، تو ایک تو فائنینشیل انکلوژن ہوئی ہے، رائٹ، اکاؤنٹس، والیٹس اینڈ سو آن. بٹ جو اسلامک سائڈ سے بہت زیادہ کام نہیں ہوا ہے. ٹھیک ہے، تو اسلامک بینکس نے آلدو کنسیڈریبلی گرو کیا ہے، جس میں میزان کا بہت کنٹریبیوشن ہے، باقی بینکس ہیں، البرکا ہے، اور پھر ونڈو آپریشنز بھی ہیں ہر بینک کے. تو اسلامک بینکنگ نے بھی بڑا گرو کیا ہے پچھلے کچھ سالوں میں. اگر آپ ان کا پرسنٹیج شیئر دیکھیں تو وہ گرو ہوا ہے. تو وہ تقریباً اس وقت 25% سے 30% پہ ہوور کرتا ہے نمبر. اچھا، اگر ہم نے یہ بڑھانا ہے، رائٹ، یہ نمبر کو بڑھانا ہے، اسٹیٹ بینک کا جو اب نیکسٹ ٹارگیٹ ہے وہ ہے کہ اس کو 64 سے 75% پہ لے جانا ہے فائنینشیل انکلوژن کو. اچھا، ہم ابھی اس طرف نہیں جا رہے کہ فائنینشیل انکلوژن ضروری کیوں ہے. ظاہر ہے کہ اب ہم کہہ رہے ہیں یار بڑھنا چاہیے، تو کیوں بڑھنا چاہیے؟ ظاہر ہے کہ جب آپ کے پاس فارمل فائنینشیل سروسز کا ایکسیس ہوتا ہے تو وہاں سے آپ کو سیونگس ہوتی ہیں، یو کین ٹرانزیکٹ، آپ انویسٹ کر سکتے ہیں، آپ بورو کر سکتے ہیں اینڈ سو آن. تو جب آپ فارمل فائنینشیل سروسز کے فولڈ میں آ جاتے ہیں تو اس کے اپنے بینیفٹس ہیں. اچھا، یہ ڈفرینٹ رجیمز آئیں، اسٹیٹ بینک ڈفرینٹ لائسنسز لے کے آیا. برک اینڈ مارٹر ہمیشہ سے تھے. برک اینڈ مارٹر کی سب سے بڑی لمیٹیشن کیا ہے؟ برک اینڈ مارٹر کی لمیٹیشن یہ ہے کہ آپ کو اسکیل نہیں ہوتا. آپ کو اگر کوئی اپنا آؤٹ ریچ بڑھانی ہے تو آپ نے نمبر آف برانچز بنی ہوگی, رائٹ. تو دیٹس ویئر ڈیجیٹل کمس انٹو پلے. تو ڈیجیٹل آپ کو اسکیل دیتا ہے, ڈیجیٹل آپ کو ایفیشنسی دیتا ہے. اچھا, پاکستان میں 2022 میں اسٹیٹ بینک نے ایک نئی اینٹی ٹائپ کے لیے ریگولیشن کی. انہوں نے کہا کہ اب ہم پاکستان میں ڈیجیٹل بینکس کو انٹروڈیوس کرنا چاہتے ہیں. اچھا, اس کے لیے 20 ایپلیکینٹس تھے. اس میں فائنلی 5 ایپلیکینٹس جو ہیں وہ شارٹ لسٹ ہوئے جن کو ڈیجیٹل بینک کا گو ایڈ دیا. اچھا, اس کا پھر فیزز ہیں. جیسے انہوں نے پہلے دیا کہ ہم آپ کو شارٹ لسٹ کر رہے ہیں, پھر ان پرنسپل اپروول ہے, اور اس کے بعد پھر وہ لائسنس دیں گے ریسٹرکٹڈ. تو 5 اینٹیز ہیں جو کہ ڈیجیٹل بینک شروع کر رہی ہیں. اچھا, اس میں سے ایزی پیسہ ہے, ایوری بڈی از فیملیئر وتھ, رائٹ. ان کا صرف ایک کنورژن ہے. باقی جو 4 اینٹیز ہیں وہ نیو ڈیجیٹل بینکس ہیں پاکستان میں. اچھا, ڈیجیٹل بینک بائی ڈیفینیشن ہے کیا؟ ڈیجیٹل بینک آپ سب کا ایکسپیرینس ہوگا, ایزی پیسہ یوز کیا ہوگا, جاز کیش یوز کیا ہوگا, تو وہ ایک اچھا ریفرنس پوائنٹ بنتا ہے ڈیجیٹل بینک کو ایکسپلین کرنے کے لیے. تو ڈیجیٹل بینکس بیسکلی وہ ہیں جو کہ ڈیجیٹلی اپنی سروسز ڈیلیور کرتے ہیں, رائٹ. ان کی ایپ ہوگی, ان کی انٹرنیٹ بینکنگ ہوگی, کوئی آلٹرنیٹیو ڈیلیوری چینل ہوں گے, لیکن برانچز نہیں ہوں گے. اچھا, تو یہ ڈیجیٹل بینکس گلوبلی بھی بڑے سکسیسفل رہے ہیں. اگر آپ کبھی دیکھیں تو وہ نو بینک ایک ہے برازیل کا, 100 ملین کسٹمرز ہیں ان کے. ریولوٹ ہے, مونزو ہے, اسٹارلنگ, اس طرح کے اگر آپ کوئی گوگل بھی کر لیں تو آپ کو پتہ چلے گا کہ ڈیجیٹل بینکس جو دنیا میں سکسیسفل ہیں. اچھا, ایک چیز جو ان کو اسٹینڈ آؤٹ کرتی ہے وہ یہ کہ انہوں نے بہت جلدی گرو کی ہے. پچھلے 10 سال میں جیسے نو بینک 2014 میں لانچ ہوا, 2024 میں اس کے 100 ملین کسٹمرز ہیں, رائٹ. تو ڈیجیٹل بینک کے پاس یہ کیپیسٹی ہے کہ وہ بہت تیزی سے گرو کر سکتا ہے کیونکہ ٹیکنالوجی بیسڈ فائنینشیل سروسز ہیں. اچھا, پاکستان میں اگر آپ دیکھیں تو اچھی چیز یہ ہے کہ جو ایکو سسٹم ہے یا انیبلمنٹ ہے وہ بہت اچھا ہے. اچھا, وہ انیبلنگ انوائرمنٹ میں کیا چیزیں ہیں بنیادی؟ آپ سب کے پاس اسمارٹ فون ہے, رائٹ. آپ سب کے پاس انٹرنیٹ ایکسس ہے, آپ سب کے پاس شناختی کارڈ ہے, رائٹ. اچھا, یہ وہ انیبلرز ہیں جو چاہیے ہوں گے ڈیجیٹل اکاؤنٹ اوپننگ کے لیے. ہمیں آپ کا شناختی کارڈ آپ کو چاہیے ہوتا ہے, آپ کو اسمارٹ فون چاہیے ہوگا, آپ ایپ ڈاؤن لوڈ کر سکیں, آپ کو انٹرنیٹ کا ایکسس چاہیے ہوگا, اینڈ سو آن. یہ بڑی بیسک چیزیں ہیں. تو پاکستان میں یہ جو ایکو سسٹم ہے یہ بہت اچھا ماشاء اللہ سے ڈیولپ ہوا ہے, اور اس میں اسٹیٹ بینک کا بھی ایز اے ریگولیٹر بہت اچھا ایک رول رہا ہے. تو ہم بالکل اسی رائٹ کو ویو کرتے ہوئے ڈیجیٹل بینکنگ لے کے آ رہے ہیں, پیور پلے ڈیجیٹل بینکس جو کہ جن کی برانچز نہیں ہوں گی لیکن صرف ایپ بیسڈ یا پھر ڈفرنٹ چینلز کے تھرو فائنینشیل سروسز دے رہے ہوں گے. اچھا, اب اس کے اندر اب اگر آپ آ جائیں, جو ٹاپک تھا کہ ہم کس طرح سے انوویشن کو انشور کر رہے ہیں وداؤٹ کمپرومائزنگ آن شریعہ کمپلائنس اور رسک مینجمنٹ. اچھا, رقمی بائی دا وے میں تھوڑا سا آپ کو رقمی کا بتا دوں. رقمی از گوئنگ ٹو بی دا فرسٹ Islamic Sharia digital bank in the country, right? We are backed by Pak Kuwait Investment Company, Anatech اور اس طرح کے جو کہ پیچھے سے کویت انویسٹمنٹ ایجنسی ہے, سوورن فنڈ, اور پھر گورنمنٹ آف پاکستان بھی ہے اس کے اندر, پی کے آئی سی میں یہ شیئر ہولڈرز ہیں. تو پہلا پاکستان کا ڈیجیٹل اسلامک بینک ہونے جا رہا ہے, اور ہمارا پائلٹ ایکسپیکٹڈ ہے نیکسٹ منتھ, اس کے بعد کمرشل لانچ اور اس طرح سے. اچھا, انوویشن کی جب ہم بات کرتے ہیں تو آپ نے اگر دیکھا ہوگا کہ ڈیجیٹل فائنینشیل سروسز میں جتنی انوویشن ہوئی ہے 2009 کے زمانے سے, جب ایزی پیسہ پہلی دفعہ لانچ ہوا تھا, تو اب آپ میں سے مجھے نہیں پتا کتنے لوگ ایک اور اگر کوئی شو آف ہینڈ صرف وہ کہ آپ میں سے کتنے لوگ لاسٹ 2 ویکس میں بینک برانچ گئے تھے. اچھا, یہ ہارڈلی کوئی 8% آف دی پاپولیشن ہے ہماری. اس کا مطلب ہے کہ اب آپ کی ساری فائنینشیل سروسز بینکنگ جو ہے وہ اب آپ اپنے گھر بیٹھ کے ایپ سے یا انٹرنیٹ بینکنگ سے کر لیتے ہیں. اچھا, بینکنگ ہمیشہ جو ٹریڈیشنل کانسیپٹ ہوتا تھا وہ یہ ہوتا تھا یار کہ وہ کہتے تھے کہاں, وہ کہتا تھا یار بینک جا رہا ہوں. کہاں جا رہے ہو؟ بینک جا رہا ہوں. تو بینک واز اے پلیس جہاں پہ کہ کوئی جا کے کوئی فائنینشیل سروسز آپ نے پیسے جمع کرانے, پیسے نکلوانے, چیک جمع کرانا اینڈ سو آن. اچھا, آپ کو یہ ڈیجیٹل فائنینشیل سروسز الاؤ کرتی ہے کہ آپ گھر بیٹھ کے یہ ساری اپنی ٹرانزیکشنز کر سکتے ہیں, رائٹ. آپ جو ہے نا پیمنٹس کر سکتے ہیں, آپ جو ہے نا کوئی اپنے بل پے کر سکتے ہیں, کسی کو فنڈ ٹرانسفر کر سکتے ہیں, انویسٹمنٹس کر سکتے ہیں اینڈ سو آن. تو انوویشن کا اسپیس ہمارے پاس فرام ڈیجیٹل پوائنٹ آف ویو بہت زیادہ ہے. अच्छा, अब उसके अंदर क्योंकि नए डिजिटल बैंक्स हैं, निम्बल हैं, वेरी कुड बी वेरी एजाइल, एफिशिएंट हो सकते हैं, जल्दी इनोवेट कर सकते हैं, टाइम टू मार्केट, कोई लेगेसी सिस्टम नहीं है, तो ये हमारा एक प्लस पॉइंट है डिजिटल बैंक्स का। और पाकिस्तान में ज़ाहिर है कि लोगों को अब अंदाजा है डिजिटल बैंकिंग यूज कर रहे हैं, आप में से भी काफी लोगों ने हाथ उठाया कि हम डिजिटल बैंकिंग करते हैं, तो ये राइड हम कर सकते हैं, ये वेव, ये जो ऑलरेडी पहले प्लेयर्स ने एक तरह से ले किया है ग्राउंड, हम उस पर बिल्ड कर सकते हैं। अच्छा, अब बात आ गई रिस्क मैनेजमेंट की। अच्छा, डिजिटल में आपके हमारे पास रिस्क जरूर है, ज़ाहिर डिजिटल बैंक है तो सबसे बड़ा तो टेक्नोलॉजी रिस्क आ जाता है, इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी रिस्क आ जाता है एंड सो ऑन। शरिया कंप्लायंस हमारे पास हम कभी भी बहुत हाई नहीं रेट करते अपने पास, ऑल्दो बीइंग द फैक्ट कि हम एक इस्लामिक शरिया कंप्लायंट डिजिटल बैंक है। उसकी वजह ये है, दो वजह, एक तो स्टेट बैंक का पूरा एक शरिया गवर्नेंस फ्रेमवर्क है जो हम पे अप्लाई होता है, राइट, डिजिटल बैंकिंग पे, तो वो उसमें आपको वो सारे लवाजमात पूरे करने होते हैं, पूरे प्रीरेक्विजिट्स, आपको शरिया बोर्ड चाहिए, आपको आरएसबीएम जो रेसिडेंट शरिया बोर्ड एडवाइजर है वो चाहिए, शरिया की प्रोडक्ट स्ट्रक्चरिंग टीम चाहिए, तो देयर आर टू मेनी लेयर्स, लाइन ऑफ डिफेंस बहुत सारी हैं, तो वो बड़ा मुश्किल होता है कि वो उसमें से सीप थ्रू हो सके कोई चीज। सारे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स वो रिव्यू कर रहे होते हैं, सारी प्रोडक्ट स्ट्रक्चरिंग एंड एवरीथिंग। तो इसका मतलब है कि शरिया कंप्लायंस पे रेगुलेटर ने भी हमें इंश्योर किया हुआ है कि यार आपने ये करना है। अच्छा, जो बड़े हमें रिस्क आते हैं वो टेक्नोलॉजी से रिस्क आएगा, इंफॉर्मेशन सिक्योरिटी, आजकल फ्रॉड रिस्क बहुत ज्यादा है डिजिटल में, सोशल इंजीनियरिंग, इस तरह की चीजें, तो वो जरूर आएगा। अच्छा, जो दूसरा पॉइंट है रिस्क मैनेजमेंट का कि शरिया कंप्लायंस किस तरह से डिजिटल बैंकिंग इंश्योर कर रहा है। अगर आप आज इस्लामिक बैंक से बात करें ना, या लोगों से जो इस्लामिक बैंक करते हैं, एक बड़ा आता है, एक एतराज क्या आता है इस्लामिक बैंक पे, एक जनरल बैंक माइंडसेट की बात कर रहा हूँ, वो कहते हैं यार ये टोपी ड्रामा है, सही है, ये वही चीज है, इधर से घुमाओ इधर से पकड़ो, तकरीबन वही चीजें हैं एंड रिजल्ट वही है एंड सो ऑन। देखिए, इस्लामिक बैंकिंग जो है वो बैंकिंग है, उसके साथ बैंकिंग लगा हुआ है, तो इसका मतलब है कि आउटकम तो आपको वही नजर आएगा, बैंकिंग सर्विस ही होगी। इट्स जस्ट दैट कि प्रोसेस है वो शरिया कंप्लाइंट है। तो आप अगर आज एक बर्गर खा रहे हैं जिसके अंदर चिकन है, आपको नहीं पता कि यार ये इसमें से जबी हुआ था या फिर ये कोई झटके का गोश्त है, राइट, आपको एंड रिजल्ट सेम नजर आ रहा है, लेकिन आपको पता है कि प्रोसेस जिससे वो गुजरा है तो वो शरिया कंप्लाइंट हुआ है। अच्छा, सवाल पे आते हैं आपके। अच्छा, अब इसमें अंदर देखिए, जो आज भी इस्लामिक बैंकिंग होती है ना, उसमें थोड़ा सा एक एतराज ये आता है कि यार सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है और वो फॉलो होना चाहिए। जो हमारे शरिया के लोग हैं, मुफ्ती, उनको ये बहुत अच्छी तरह अंदाजा है कि अक्सर ये होता है कि अगर वो जो रिलेशनशिप मैनेजर है वो पेपर पे अगर हो रहा है तो थोड़ी बहुत सीक्वेंस आगे पीछे हो सकती है। अच्छा यार, ये रह गया था ऑफर एक्सेप्टेंस, ओहो अच्छा अच्छा, रुको मैं दौड़ के करवा के ले आता हूँ। तो इस तरह की चीज हो सकती है। डिजिटल में ना एक बहुत, अगर आप लोग थोड़ी सी अटेंशन दें, डिजिटल में एक चीज बड़ी अच्छी होती है, एक तो ट्रांसपेरेंसी होती है, हाँ, सीक्वेंस ऑफ इवेंट्स जिस तरह से कैप्चर होने चाहिए उसी तरह से होते हैं। अगला इवेंट नहीं होगा जब तक पहला इवेंट नहीं होगा, क्योंकि आपने अपनी कस्टमर जर्नी वर्क फ्लो डिजिटली इसी तरह से बनाई हुई होती है। तो जो शरिया कंप्लायंस या नॉन कंप्लायंस फॉर दैट मैटर, उसका जो रिस्क है वो काफी हद तक उसमें कम हो सकता है। तो ये बड़ी क्विकली मुझे मिल गया है कि आपके पास 1 मिनट रह गया है, तो आई जस्ट क्विकली समराइज एक तरह से जो डिस्कशन है कि पाकिस्तान में अब नए डिजिटल बैंक्स आ रहे हैं, रकमी इज द फर्स्ट डिजिटल बैंक। इनोवेशन का हमारे पास स्पेस बहुत ज्यादा है, बट विल स्टिल कंट्रीब्यूट टू द फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन। एक चीज जो पाकिस्तान में बहुत कम है ना, डिस्पाइट द फैक्ट कि फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन हमने 64% का है, एक्सेस टू क्रेडिट का ये नंबर बहुत कम है। लोगों को एक्सेस टू क्रेडिट उस तरह नहीं है। आप एक अकाउंट ओपनिंग तो आज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन आप उससे कहें यार मुझे कोई फाइनेंसिंग दे दो तो नहीं मिलेगी। आप एसएमई देख लें, आपकी 6% है तकरीबन प्राइवेट क्रेडिट का, कंज्यूमर 10% है एंड सो ऑन। तो पाकिस्तान में एक्सेस टू क्रेडिट बड़ा मुश्किल है। अच्छा, तो हम हमारा जो है रकमी का एक मेजर वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन ये है कि वी आर गोइंग टू बी फाइनेंसिंग फोकस्ड बैंक। तो डिजिटली आप स्केल कर सकते हैं अपनी फाइनेंसिंग को एक्सपोनेंशियली, अनलाइक के ब्रिक एंड मॉर्टर। तो ये कुछ ऑब्जेक्टिव्स हैं, ये कुछ इस तरह के डिजिटल बैंक के मकासद हैं, एंड दिस इज व्हाट वी एम टू अचीव इन द लॉन्ग रन। चलिए जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर योर अटेंशन, थैंक यू।
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the third speaker of the day. As technology continues to redefine how we connect and care for one another, initiatives like the proposed IADE Social Kafala platform offer a powerful vision for tech-enabled social justice. This session will explore how digital tools can turn simple clicks into meaningful acts of compassion, reshaping support systems within our communities. It is my privilege to invite Professor Dr. Aisha Muniza, who is the professor of NCF University, Malaysia. She'll be talking about From Clicks to Compassion, the proposed Ayade Social Kafala platform, and the future of tech enabled social justice. Professor Aisha will be joining us online. Assalamu alaikum, madam. Are we audible to you? Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Aisha. Are we audible?
Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me?
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, madam, you are audible to us.
All right.
You can begin the session, ma'am. You can begin the session.
All right. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. The topic which I am going to discuss today is about from clicks to compassion, the proposed Ayadi social kafala platform, and the future of tech-enabled social justice. This is an important topic to be discussed because normally when we look at the crowdfunding platforms or any type of platforms where assistance is provided, it is always focused on money, giving money to people who are in need, and it is considered as a one-time assistance rather than a sustainable assistance. Can you please move to the next slide? So today, in my presentation, I'm going to look at the gaps in current digital charity platforms, reimagining support with Kafala, and how the IRD platform would work in this context, and finally, a brief conclusion. Next, please. So as we know, due to COVID-19, and there are many other previous natural disasters we have faced. Every time there is a natural disaster or a black swan event like COVID-19, which is faced, we always tend to offer our helping hand to those who are in need. But we always think about the immediate response that can be provided rather than a long-term, sustainable way of helping each other. So these are the times in which we try to activate the Islamic social finance means including zakat, sadaqah, or any other types that could be used for the particular purpose. So the question which I would like to ask today is, how long should individuals rely on aid before being empowered to stand on their own? Now, we understand that money is never enough. The more we give, the more people wants it. And the more the people wants it, we try to find the surplus unit where the money is available, but always we end up in deficit. This is the truth that we see happening in all over the world today, whether it is a rich country or a poor country. Therefore, what we are proposing is a platform that will provide access to financial assistance to those who are in need, and
Ma'am, we cannot hear you. Are we audible to you? We cannot hear you, ma'am. Are we audible? Okay, we do have some technical issues. We move on to the second speaker of the day. I would like to invite on stage Mr. Ilsam Offer, who is the Chief Operating Officer at LOLC Microfinance Bank. Mr. Ilsam will be talking about empowering the underserved, ethical governance in digital microfinance for inclusive growth. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ilsam.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good response, mashallah. Usually in Sri Lanka, I'm from Sri Lanka, right? Usually in Sri Lanka, after lunch, I think good 80% of the crowd vanish. So usually I don't accept speeches if I'm in Sri Lanka, but mashallah, good to see at least about 60% remaining at the same stage. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Are you guys sleepy? Show your hands when you're all sleepy. Are you all sleepy? Show your hands. Okay. Stand up and show if you all are not sleepy. That means you guys are sleepy. Okay. Anyway. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Rabbi shrahli sadri wa yassirli amri wa halul uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi jidni ilma wa arzuqni fahma. In the name of Almighty Allah, all merciful, very merciful, peace and blessings upon Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions and all the Mu'min and Muslims up to the day of Qiyamah. Amin. So, I am honored and humbled to be here today to deliver this speech in terms of ethical governance, specializing into microfinance industry. My name is Ilsam Aufer. I'm from Colombo, Sri Lanka. So I've been in the Sri Lankan Islamic banking and finance fraternity for the past 1.5 decades. And I'm in this beautiful country for the past year as the country head and COO of LOLC Microfinance Bank, Pakistan. Okay. So today, my topic, I will be focusing on key aspects of how we take off this digitization, how a microfinance bank can take their customers to the digital process, what are the advantages, what are the ethical grounds, what are the challenges, and what are the key steps that one company should follow if they want to embrace the digital microfinancing network. Okay, so first of all, I would like to give you certain statistics which I found during my research regarding Pakistan Islamic banking industry. If you look at the slide, the chart, the total asset of Islamic banking during past, there's a comparison from 23 to 24. So during past 1 year, the total asset base has grown from 2,076 billion. That's a 23% growth up to 11,070 billion in terms of total asset of the Islamic banking industry. But most interesting fact, if you can see the pie chart over there, the total or the composition of the Islamic banking asset versus conventional banking asset, it's about 20%. So precisely 79.4 is related to conventional banking assets. Therefore, I think it's ideal time that the government and the state bank issued this transformation from conventional banking to Islamic banking that will give a robust boom, I believe, to the Islamic banking sector. If you compare this with the Sri Lankan banking platform, even Sri Lankan bank, Islamic banking sector is growing 20% year to year. So whereas the conventional banking sector of Sri Lanka grows about 10 to 15% year on year. Being 10% of the Muslim community in Sri Lanka, which is I believe the key target market for Islamic banking. how Sri Lankan Islamic banking industry achieved this growth because of their contribution to the total GDP. If you look at this 10% community is contributing more than 25% of the Sri Lankan GDP. So in that pace, I would believe the Islamic banking industry in Pakistan has an enormous potential to grow. So the deposit base, it's 7,905 as at December 24. There's a growth of 17%. If you look at the as a composition, it's 25%, almost 25% of the total deposit base in the banking industry. So net asset, if the practitioner's term, the net advances or executions remaining at 4,037 billion, a growth of 702 billion in terms of 21% growth. So if you look at as a composition, 25% of the total banking net advances, the Islamic bank remaining at 25%. There is no change of number of institutions. It remained at 22. Total branches 6,017, including 2,253 of Islamic banking window. Now, I would like to show you all related to microfinance, where this asset base has been invested. If you look at the total asset base of 4,037 billion precisely has been invested more than 73% in the corporate sector. What I highlighted in red, the SME sector, or we call small medium entrepreneurs, and agriculture sector, if you look at, it's not even less than 5%. So I see this not as a challenge, but as an opportunity for microfinance business where they can grow. There's an enormous potential in the market to grow this business. Okay. Now let's look at the digital banking landscape in Pakistan. Out of 242 million population in Pakistan, we have digital literacy of 58%. This is basically based on the recent survey conducted in 2019. I'm sure now it would have surpassed good 60 to 62% level. Internet users, 111 million. That comes around 46% of the total population. Mobile phone penetration, 189 million, which comes around 78% of the total population. Mobile wallet, 60 million, which is comes to around 24%. So this gives the edge. This gives an idea to every one of you all how far we can penetrate this business and what sort of a potential that we have for this business, especially with the mobile phone penetration and with the internet banking users and with the mobile phone wallets. So if you look at total banking clients, it's remain at 39 million. Total bank accounts, we have 177 million total banking accounts in the industry, including microfinance banking sector. So the total microfinance bank customers remain at 9.3 million, but the survey shows that there's a potential of 40.9 million. So we can penetrate up to 40.9 million level if we really concentrate on this business. So total digital transaction client 14.9% and total internet banking clients 11 million. Okay, right. Now I will take you all quickly to why we need digital microfinancing. If you look at not only in Pakistan, even in Sri Lanka, even in other parts of the world, it's a transformation from traditional microfinancing, which we call a group loan module, right, to the modern financing and the digital microfinancing. So one, to understand this transformation, it is important to know what is this traditional microfinancing model. Actually, it started with an unsecured loan platform, whereas we group about 5 to 6 people, we lend and we guarantee each other. So the disadvantage of the system, time to come, the system failed because of the high default ratio. So then microfinance industry evolved from traditional banking to the modern banking, whereas sectors have more focus. For example, agriculture, trading, manufacturing, right? So now we are talking about the digital microfinancing. But unfortunately, for some institutions, the digital banking is the future, but for some institutions, digital banking is the present. As you will see, I can remember very recently we experienced a transformation of a total bank into a digital bank called Easy Paisa, right? That's a phenomenal trends that we are seeing as practitioners in the industry, and those are really adding values to the industry. Okay, so these are some of the main features. I'm sure from morning itself you all have been seeing these things. What are the main features of digital banking, which is also applicable for microfinancing, right? So we are talking about digital wallets, loans, deposits and savings, fund transfers, remittances, direct debits, where the customers don't need to go to the bank. They can through their mobile phone they can pay their loan installments, that we call direct debit. Then the insurance, as well as the merchant payment and the utility payments. Right. So I will quickly move forward since the time it's getting end, and I got a cheat also from the organizers. Right. So why this digitalization is important? This makes the process for an institution is very flexible and effective. As you all know, this save a lot of cost and reducing TAT. That means the overall transaction time of the institution or the facility rather. Then increase the customer accessibility and convenience, saving operating and administration costs to the institution, and all these factors lead to keep ahead in the competition. Right. Moving forward, what are the ethical ground? What sort of, in terms of customers, what are the advantages that they have? Basically, this ensure the customer safety. Rather going on a manual platform, digital platform always ensure customer safety and safeguard the confidentiality, because data is only accessible for restricted users, is password protected, privacy protected. So then this increase the customer integrity. Customer will be towards your organization whenever he wants to do a transaction, and the data availability in terms of the organization, the data availability will be there at the fingerprint. But this has some challenges as well, such as for an institution, in order to implement digital microfinance, will have to bear a high initiation cost. That's a capex cost. So this is high. So this can hinder someone institution's break even or the profitability at the initial stage, and there can be network limitations in the process. Skill staff, that's one of the challenges Sri Lanka faced during the economic crisis, because a lot of skill staff started moving towards Europe and other part of the world, as well as the regulation. So if anybody want to, or anybody like to start the digitalization in terms of microfinance, these challenge will have to be addressed. Okay, so I will quickly tell how to implement the digitalization. First of all, there are six aspects that I would like to talk. First, the country readiness, where are the regulations in place, where are the, as a country, whether the institution can really do the digitalization. Then the customer, whereas your customer's readiness, whether the customer is basically ready to accept digitalization, and the organization readiness. So when the organization, how organization basically can be come to the digitalization process, right? The technology, what sort of a core banking platform you have, and what sort of a mobile wallet that the company has. So then what's your strategy in terms of digitalization, how you push your digitalization to the target market, and whether you have the right products and services in place. Okay, so at LOLC, when we start this microfinance business back in 1980s, we were following this traditional microfinance model. Now, as a group, we have expanded into 3 continents and 25 countries, right? Apart from the across the globe. So we literally called as the largest microfinance provider in the world. When it comes to Pakistan, even though we have 87 branches. One can wonder how we penetrate business pan-Pakistan. We use a lot of digitalization business. We actually had a traditional microfinancing model. Now we are very much into digital microfinance model. So if you look at our digital journey, we launched our first digital application in 2022 and got a rapid growth up to date. So onboarding in 23 with the one link, which is the national switch, and getting ourselves registered for OTC bill collection in 2024, launching the debit card in 2024, and getting the one biller in January 25. And the next step would be our iPay. That's a mobile payment platform. So iPay is basically, I don't want to, I'm not taking much time to explain that. So so I've got the last sheet as well. So let me finish this. Okay. So the difference between iPay and the normal payment platforms is basically this is where we submitted the proposal and we are discussing with State Bank of Pakistan also to seek their approval. When you have iPay account, not only from your bank account, even from the, if you have another bank account, you can basically transact and connect to the iPay network. So this is the specialty, and this is something unique for iPay. So I just wanted to give a glimpse of this digital microfinancing, how to take a journey if you are a practitioner or if you are a student or if you are a basically industry colleague. I just wanted to share a few items. So hopefully during after this session or during questions, we can share knowledge, and I'm glad to see my team is also here with me. So feel free to discuss. Let's take us this journey towards the success. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, sir. Moving on to the next speaker of the day, as AI transformed decision-making across industries, Islamic finance faces the unique challenges of balancing technology with the depth of human jurisprudence. To talk about fatwa automation, balancing AI and human jurisprudence in Islamic finance, I'm pleased to invite Mufti Usama Ehsan, who is basically the member Sharia board at Bank Al Falah Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mufti Usama Ehsan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli wa nusallimu ala rasulihil kareem, amma ba'd. So I just want to take a leaf from Dr. Kabir's book, and I'm just going to step down here because I think the energy levels are very low and we need to get people back into the discussion. Can I have the presentation, please? So my topic is related to AI. So if I can have a poll from everyone who is here, how many of us have used AI in our daily lives, especially the students here and the academia? Okay, so by the show of hand, it seems it's very low. And I'm going to seek permission from Dr. Kabir to switch over to Urdu, I think, because the audience might be a bit more comfortable with that. तो AI का इस्तेमाल आप मुझे बता रहे हैं कि despite all of these students कोई भी नहीं करता, यानी it's very low, right? So as you know, what is artificial intelligence? If we don't use it, अगर अभी हम नहीं use करते तो going forward is going to be a big part of our lives. And my topic relates to AI और उसके साथ फतवा के अंदर उसका क्या रोल हो सकता है? Can we automate फतावा? और ये क्वेश्चन आपने खुद भी सोचा होगा और कई दफा हमने तो बहुत दफा सुना, हमें पोज भी किया जाता है कि गोइंग फॉरवर्ड अगर एआई फतवा दे देगा तो क्या वो फतवा काफी हो जाएगा? वुड दैट बी सफिशिएंट कि उसके ऊपर अमल कर लिया जाए? और वो एंड सम पीपल बिलीव दैट इट विल बी सफिशिएंट. There are many AI models which are replaced, if not necessarily replacing, लेकिन डॉक्टर्स की जो मेडिकल एडवाइस होती है शायद उससे बेहतर एडवाइस या उससे ज्यादा साउंड एडवाइस at times they're able to provide, right? So what is AI? AI is simulation of human intelligence. So they simulate human intelligence at the moment. लगता है कि वो एक इंसान है जिससे हम सवाल पूछ रहे हैं और हमें सवाल का जवाब दे रहा है. There's narrow AI जो अभी इस वक्त AI चल रहा है जो most people use, which is ChatGPT, Alexa, Google, and all of the different ones we have. Then there's general AI, which is human-like intelligence. And next step, जिसके बाद शायद पता नहीं हम बचे हैं ना बचे हैं, which is super AI. So and there's a joke going around the internet nowadays کہ جو چیٹ جی پی ٹی والے ہیں, I think they've said کہ صرف thank you اور you're welcome کہ جو prompts ہوتے ہیں اس کے اوپر ان کی اچھا خاصا خرچہ ہو جاتا ہے اس کو پروسیس کرنے کے اندر, but people are not willing to let go کیونکہ انہیں ڈر ہے کہ آج ہم thank you نہیں بولیں گے تو کل شاید یہ جو overlords ہیں ہمارے they will take over. So what are the abilities of AI? It understands language, it learns from data, it solves problems and recognizes patterns. اگر میں اس کو اپنے آسان الفاظ میں اس وقت sum up کرنا چاہوں, so I would say it's an advanced search engine. Whatever data جو اس کے پاس ہوتا ہے جس کے اوپر وہ لرننگ کرتا ہے اسی سے وہ آپ کو نتائج دیتا ہے. It is not creating something out of thin air, it is not creating something out of its own self, it's just whatever data is had at the back. In my simple own layman terms, of course I'm not an expert in AI. So when we match it with fatwa کہ کیا AI fatwa دے سکتا ہے, so we need to seek and look at fatwa کسے کہتے ہیں, what is defined as fatwa. تو جنرلی فتوے کی 3 قسمیں ہوتی ہیں. ایک تو وہ فتویٰ ہے جو فتویٰ تشریعی یعنی جو ہائیسٹ لیول ہے, وہ فتویٰ جو قرآن کے اندر یا نبی اکرم صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم سے جب سوال ہوتا تھا تو آپ اس کے جواب میں کوئی حکم ارشاد فرماتے یا قرآن نازل ہوتا تو یہ ہائیسٹ لیول آف فتویٰ ہے, یہ فتویٰ تشریعی ہے. جب ہم اپنے لیمن ٹرمز کے اندر اپنی آپس کی بات کرتے ہیں, so we're not speaking about this fatwa, we're talking about another kind. Second is when the fuqaha, when the scholars, the jurists, جب وہ اپنی ڈسکشنز کرتے ہیں اپنی اکیڈمک کتابوں کے اندر تو بعض دفعہ قواعد کو, اصول کو, پرنسپلز کو بیان کرنے کے بعد they give some examples of real life, how those principles might be applied on real life. وہ بھی ایک فتویٰ ہوتا ہے لیکن that's also not the fatwa we are talking about. The fatwa we generally refer to and relate to is a non-binding legal opinion that about the ruling of Allah, یعنی ایک on a specific issue issued by a qualified scholar. تو سب سے پہلی بات تو یہ کہ نان بائنڈنگ ہوتا ہے, اٹس ناٹ لائک اے ججمنٹ ایشوڈ بائی اے کورٹ آف لا, کہ وہ اگر کورٹ آف لا کوئی ورڈکٹ ایشو کرتا ہے تو اٹس بائنڈنگ اپون the people جن کے بارے میں اس کو ایشو کیا گیا ہے, which means people go فتویٰ شاپنگ. وہ ایک مفتی سے فتویٰ لیتے ہیں, نہیں پسند آتا دوسرے سے پوچھ لیتے ہیں, دوسرے کا نہیں پسند آتا تو تیسرے سے, حتیٰ کہ انہیں جو انہیں پرابلم چاہیے وہ پرابلم سالو ہو جاتا ہے. سو پیپل گو فتویٰ شاپنگ, there's a term used for that, right? تو why, کیونکہ نان بائنڈنگ ہے. اگر بائنڈنگ ہوتا تو پہلے والا ہی جو حکم تھا وہ ان کے اوپر لازم ہو جاتا, but they are allowed to do that because I mean whether it's permissible or not that's another debate, but they have room to do that because it's non-binding, it's not non-binding, but it's a legal opinion about the ruling of Allah, یعنی اللہ سبحانہ و تعالیٰ کی طرف سے کہ اللہ تعالیٰ انسان سے کیا چاہتے ہیں. یعنی بیسکلی جب کوئی آدمی کسی مفتی سے جا کے یہ سوال پوچھتا ہے کہ کیا میری ٹرانزیکشن پرمیسیبل ہوئی, تو بیسکلی وہ یہ پوچھنا چاہ رہا ہے کہ اللہ تعالیٰ کی رائے کے اندر, یعنی اللہ تعالیٰ کے وحی کے اندر, اللہ تعالیٰ کے علم کے مطابق اللہ تعالیٰ نے جو شریعت نازل کی ہے, اللہ تعالیٰ کیا فرماتے ہیں, میرا معاملہ درست ہے یا نہیں ہے. سو it's a ruling which is being given from on if you can say on behalf on, and اور اس کے بارے میں آگے جا کے بات آئے گی, on a specific issue issued by a qualified scholar. So of course you have to be a qualified scholar to issue that. According to classical and modern scholars even, کچھ شرائط ہیں کسی مفتی کے لیے جو qualified, یعنی qualified scholar ہونے کی کیا کیا شرائط ہیں. تو obviously اس کے اندر مسلمان ہونا, بالغ ہونا, عاقل ہونا, اور piety and integrity, taqwa and adalah. So these are very important, and because they're going to become more relevant to us when we move forward, when we analyze and look at AI, کہ artificial intelligence یا any large learning model یا whatever different types of technologies you have, کیا ان کے اندر بھی یہ attributes پائے جاتے ہیں یا نہیں پائے جاتے. So knowledge of Quran and Hadith, obviously وہ AI شاید ہم سے بہت بہتر بتا سکتا ہے, اس کے پاس جو جتنی جلدی وہ اس کو انالائز کر کے جتنی جلدی وہ ریزلٹس نکال کے ہمیں بتا سکتا ہے. اپلیکیشن ایبلٹی ہو سکتا ہے وہ ہم سے بہتر کسی رولنگ کو, کسی مسئلے کو اپلائی کر کے ہمیں ہماری سینیریو کے اوپر بتا دے. اینڈ the last one is also very important, the fear of Allah, خشیت اللہ, اللہ کا خوف. یہ بہت امپورٹنٹ, قرآن کے اندر بھی اللہ تعالیٰ نے اس کو بیان کیا کہ علماء, عالم وہ ہوتا ہے کہ جو اللہ سے ڈرنے والا ہو. جتنا بڑا عالم ہوگا اتنا زیادہ وہ اللہ کا خوف رکھتا ہوگا. So these are some of those points that we need to focus on and understand کہ is AI able to do these or not, and generally we'll find, or lastly ikhlas and sincerity, that they're not doing it for show یا کسی کو خوش کرنے کے لیے, دنیاوی مقاصد کے لیے وہ یہ کام نہیں کر رہے. In this I would like to refer a great scholar who says that issuing fatwas, he says کہ فتویٰ ایشو کرنا فتویٰ جاری کرنا اٹس اے میٹر آف immense danger, significant standard and great, یعنی بہت بڑا کام ہے. بہت بڑا کام کیوں ہے؟ کیونکہ جو فتویٰ ہے بیسکلی اٹس اے رول which is جو ایک انسان ایک خلیفہ کے طور پہ کرتا ہے آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم کے بعد. یعنی رسول اللہ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم سے سوال ہوتا تھا, آپ اس کا جواب ارشاد فرمایا کرتے تھے, لیکن اس کے بعد آج آپ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم نہیں ہیں تو ان کے جو انہیریٹرز ہیں, یعنی انبیاء کے جو انہیریٹرز ہیں یعنی علماء, وہ رول ادا کرتے ہیں جو پروفٹ صلی اللہ علیہ وسلم ادا کیا کرتے تھے. اور لاسٹلی ہی گوز آن, امام نووی in his book he goes on to says کہ the mufti signs on behalf of Allah. یعنی جو فتویٰ جاری ہوتا ہے اور اس کے اینڈ پہ وہ الجواب صحیح لکھتا ہے یا وہ کچھ لکھ کے اس کے اوپر سائن کرتا ہے, تو وہ سائن ایسا نہیں ہے کہ میں اپنی طرف سے ایز اے شریعہ بورڈ ممبر سائن کر رہا ہوں, بس سائن کر دیا تو مجھے کون پوچھے گا. اٹ از ایکچولی اے سائن آن بہاف آف اللہ سبحانہ و تعالیٰ. اتنی بڑی ذمہ داری ہے کہ آخرت کے بارے میں اس کے سوال ہوگا, اور دنیا کے اندر پیپل ول ٹیک دیٹ فتویٰ اینڈ دے ول start acting upon it. So there has to be a part of accountability on my part کہ میں جو سائن کر رہا ہوں, قیامت کے روز بھی اس کے اوپر سوال ہو سکتا ہے اور دنیا کے اندر بھی اس کے اوپر اکاؤنٹیبلٹی ہونی ضروری ہے. اسی طرح سے امام شافعی رحمۃ اللہ علیہ کے بارے میں بہت مشہور ہے کہ جب ان سے سوال کیا جاتا تھا, ون آف دا گریٹسٹ فقہا, ون آف دا گریٹسٹ مفتی, یعنی اگر کوئی مفتی تھا تو بڑے سب سے ٹاپ لیول کے مفتیز میں سے اٹ وڈ بی امام شافعی. جب ان سے سوال ہوتا so he would stop for a few moments and he would look down. تو لوگوں نے آ کے ان سے سوال کیا, ان سے پوچھا کہ آپ انتظار کیوں کرتے ہیں, آسان سے آسان مسئلہ ہوتا ہے کہ آپ کو جواب نہیں آتا. so he would say کہ میں اس مومنٹ کے اندر اپنے آپ کو جنت کے سامنے اور جہنم کے اوپر پیش کرتا ہوں کہ میں جو جواب دینے جا رہا ہوں یا تو وہ جواب مجھے جہنم کی طرف لے جائے گا یا وہ جواب جنت کے اندر لینڈ کرے گا. so I present myself upon both of these, that am I ready to accept the responsibility of the response I'm about to give. اسی طرح سے صحابہ کے بارے میں آتا ہے کہ جن سے سوال کیا جاتا, اور یہ عبد الرحمن ابن ابی لیلہ کہتے ہیں کہ 120 انصار صحابہ کو انہوں نے دیکھا, ان سے جب سوال ہوتا تو وہ چاہتے ہیں کہ یار یہ فتویٰ کوئی اور دے, مجھ سے میں یہ فتویٰ نہ دوں. So it's very easy to say کہ can AI give fatwa, but we need to realize کہ فتویٰ ہے کتنی بڑی ذمہ داری, ہے کتنی امپورٹنس کا کام. It is a bridge between human beings and Allah. So if you want some technology to replace and become that bridge, so of course that's everyone has their own choice, no one is stopping anyone. But if you were to go look down and deep down in a proper discussion, I don't think anyone would want AI to become a bridge between a human being and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and give the interpretation. Lastly, the question, can AI replace human jurisprudence? So obviously the answer is no. Quickly اگر میں اس میں بات کروں تو there are biases, جس ڈیٹا کے اوپر اس کو ٹرین کیا جاتا ہے اس کے اندر biases پائے جاتے ہیں. I will give an example. If you go right now and ask AI to give you a structure of sukuk, مشارکہ based structure of sukuk, so it will only give you one type. کیونکہ جو دوسری ٹائپ ہے which is diminishing مشارکہ based sukuk جو پاکستان میں رائج ہیں, وہ AI کے لرننگ ماڈل کے اندر ہے ہی نہیں, کیونکہ AOFI جو ایک بہت بڑی آرگنائزیشن ہے, اسٹینڈرڈ سیٹنگ باڈی ہے, وہ اس کو ریکگنائز نہیں کرتا, تو اس کی وجہ سے اس کے اندر آپ کو وہ سکوک نہیں ملیں گے. یو ناٹ ایبل ٹو اسٹرکچر وہ ایک, بلکہ بعض دفعہ وہ پارٹنرشپ اور وکالہ بیسڈ سکوک مداربہ کو آپس میں مکس کر جاتا ہے. سو دیئرز مینی شارٹ کمنگس جو ابھی بھی موجود ہیں AI کے اندر. There's biases in the training data, and of course there's some sensitivities جو AI is not able to comprehend and understand. And lastly, it is not able to understand کہ جو سامنے سوال پوچھنے والا ہے اس کی نوعیت کیسی ہے, اس کو کس طرح کا جواب چاہیے, اس کو کن حالات میں وہ مجھ سے سوال کر رہا ہے. So it's not able to understand that. So that is generally the gist of it. So but having said that, AI سے مدد ضرور لی جا سکتی ہے. I think the Sharia scholars, if it was a conference related to Sharia scholars, I would definitely say that Sharia scholars need to learn AI. They need to start using it, utilizing it, or there needs to be an AI which is trained on data which is relevant to the Sharia scholars. جو ہمارے کتابوں کا ذخیرہ ہے, books کا ذخیرہ ہے, اس کے اوپر وہ ٹرین ہو تاکہ it makes it easier for the scholars. As a tool they can use it, but eventually and ultimately it will have to be a human being who is acting as a bridge between a person and between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I end my talk in this, and thank you.
Jazakallah sir, and thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the next speaker of the day, I would like to invite Mufti Muhammad Najeeb, who is basically the chairman Sharia board at Bank Makrama Limited. He'll be talking about fintech and ethical governance, building trust in digital financial ecosystems. Mufti Muhammad Najib will be joining us online.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu
Am I audible?
Assalamu alaikum, sir. You are audible.
Okay, jazakallah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wal aqibatul muttaqin wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulihi Muhammadin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. The speakers made my life easy because they were bilingual, so I will start also bilingual. पहले मैं बहुत शुक्रगुजार हूँ खास तौर पे रिफा यूनिवर्सिटी का कि उन्होंने इस अहम मौजू को अपनी कॉन्फ्रेंस का मौजू बनाया, क्योंकि ये एक जदीद मौजू है और इसके बारे में गुफ्तगू हमारे यहाँ जिस तरह होनी चाहिए उस तरह हो नहीं रही। और अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बहुत अच्छी कॉन्फ्रेंस का इनेकाद किया। अल्लाह तबारक व तआला इनकी मसाई को, कोशिशों को अपनी बारगाह में इंतहाई तौर पर कबूल फरमाए। So my topic is the importance of ethics and governance in especially this fintech industry. लेकिन कोड ऑफ एथिक्स फिनटेक में भी उतना ही जरूरी है जितना इस्लामिक फाइनेंस के अंदर जरूरी है। एंड this code of ethics, especially when I'm using a word, a code of ethics, it covers principles of honesty, fairness, social responsibility, and although yes, of interest, uncertainty, these are the part of the Islamic finance. But actually, जो important चीज है जो फिनटेक के अंदर बहुत जरूरी है, वो क्योंकि आप चार दीवारी में नहीं होते हैं, आप लोगों को नहीं देख रहे होते हैं, लोग आपके सामने नहीं होते हैं, लेकिन मशीनरी कोई भी हो उसको इस्तेमाल करने वाला इंसान होता है। कम किस्मती ये है कि गुज़िश्ता 25 साल में we have invested a lot on skill-based training. But if you go through with the training L&D department of any financial institution, you will find that 10% training on personality development in terms of attitude, in terms of behavior, in terms of belief system, in terms of mindset. And attitude, behavior, belief, I cover ethics is one, and they are very crucial in industry to maintain a trust, integrity, accountability, and also ultimately ensuring the stability, transparency of the financial market. Now, what are the ethics is? Kya cheez hai? Now, what it is? So, what AOP Sharia standard, ethical standard define, doing the right thing with the right intention, internalizing belief, your internal beliefs and virtues, and your external ethical behavior, it covers the ethics. तो आपका यकीन, आपका माइंडसेट और इसके नतीजे में आपके अखलाकियात और आपके रवैये, ये बुनियादी तौर पे इस्लामी हो तो आप इस्लामिक हैं। मेरे नजदीक कन्वर्जन ऑफ नेम इज नॉट द इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, कन्वर्जन ऑफ योर बिहेवियर इज इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग, how good behavior you have. The problem which we are facing right now, that we are thinking the training means skills training. Skills, Mufti Hassan was telling me, and one of the scary, always scary presentations when AI comes, ये तो skills को तो AI बहुत सारी जगहों पे remove कर देगी, skills based चीजों को तो खत्म कर देगी। हम we need investment on humans, your human personality, your character, your attitude. Now, previous 2 decades, we have invested a lot on skill. But the way we should invest on behavior, mindset, this is somehow is missing. So when we are starting now, fintech is a new core of business. So at least we must decide the objectives for this fintech code. For me, achieve barakah by aligning with maqasid sharia. And we should assist in ethical decision making, encourage voluntary pursuit of ethics. And it will automatically reduce the operational risk. Like you all know, the biggest thing which we are facing in Islamic financial industry right now is operational risk. The guy who's selling the product, he doesn't believe it. He doesn't ever believe on it. Mindset is not aligned with it. So today he's selling Islamic product. or tomorrow he's selling a conventional product, and the customer, other self, he's confused. Hey man, yesterday you were selling something else, today you are selling something else. I say, yeah, all right. Now, why? Because the mindset is not there. And psychology is proving this thing, that your attitude and behavior is directly connected with your mindset. So the biggest challenge is mindset conversion. And especially when you are in personal level, if I'm not being groomed, my character, inner character is not groomed. So the very famous saying of Hazrat Ali Karamallah Wajh, that authority, power, and wealth do not change a man. They only reveal him through his character. ताकत आपको जब मिलती है, दौलत आपके पास आती है, इज्जत आपके पास आती है, इख्तियार आपके पास आता है, वो आपको तब्दील नहीं करता, अंदर का इंसान बाहर लाके खड़ा कर देता है. Nothing else. So now what's the most important thing? The most important thing with Quran demands adal and ihsan equation. क्या मतलब है इसका? कोई भी काम आप कर रहे हो, सबसे पहले इंटेंशन, नियत वो ताकतवर चीज है जो आपकी आदत को इबादत में तब्दील कर देती है. जो बैठा हुआ है, doing the right thing in a right manner, engaging with others positively, और खास तौर पे उन सिफात पे मेहनत करना जो ethical virtues हैं. What ethical virtues are? Quran clearly mention ethical virtues. पूरी सीरत पढ़ी हुई. तकवा, तवक्कुल, सिद्क, अमाना, कुव्वा, तौसीब अल हक. आज दुनिया उसको कहती है तकवा. तकवा एक ऐसी चीज है जो हमारी स्पेशलिटी, अल्लाह कॉन्शियसनेस, रिलायंस ऑफ अल्लाह. सिद्क इज इंटेग्रिटी, अमाना इज द ट्रस्टवर्थीनेस, कुव्वा इज द स्ट्रेंथ, तौसीब अल हक exerting truth. And when you have a right taqwa, so having the right intention, and if you have a sidq and amana, then you are doing right thing. You have a quwwa, so it means that doing in a right manner. So इसके नतीजे में अदल और एहसान खुद ब खुद आता है. अदल और एहसान आउटपुट होता है कुछ वैल्यूज का. ये इंस्टीट्यूशन को नहीं, पहले शख्स से शुरू होती हैं, मेरी जात में पहले शुरू होती हैं. पहले मैं द बेसिक प्रोटोकॉल क्या है? प्रोटोकॉल ये है कि पहले सेल्फ अकाउंटेबिलिटी मेरे अंदर आएगी. आई शुड स्टार्ट अवॉइडिंग लायबिलिटी. आई शुड अवॉइड डिसीजन मेकिंग विद मशवरा. मेरी जिंदगी के अंदर मशवरा आएगा, इदारे में मशवरा बाद में आएगा. तो कोड ऑफ एथिक्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग है. और अगर मैं इसको वायलेट करूंगा, तकवे को वायलेट करूंगा, तो जाहिर सी बात है फिर आदमी गुनाह में मुब्तला होगा. तवक्कुल को वायलेट करेगा तो मिसयूज ऑफ रिसोर्सेज. सिद्क को वायलेट करेगा तो लाइंग, एक्सचेंजिंग, प्लेजरिज्म, मिसकमिटमेंट, फॉल्स प्रॉमिसेस. We have seen, we have a case study of the banker. There's a famous case study of the banker in Pakistan. What it was whole false promises, miscommitments. और याद रखिएगा, अगर ट्रस्ट चला जाता है ना तो एवरीथिंग गॉन. द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग ट्रस्ट comes from your basic thing कि जो हम कह रहे हैं वो हम कर रहे हैं. So, and also the most important thing, language, which I am facing right now. Unfortunately, appropriate language become a norm of industry. That's very dangerous. And yes, amana, stealing, misappropriate. Amana is very important in a fintech because you have a data. The biggest thing is the data. So please also, and also when we are doing something, so integrity के examples create करने चाहिए. इंटेग्रिटी के एग्जाम्पल्स क्या है कि मैं अपने कस्टमर के साथ ऑनेस्ट हूं. फिनटेक है ना, नई चीज है पाकिस्तान में, मैं ऑनेस्ट हूं, एक्यूरेट इंफॉर्मेशन दूं, टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस को क्लियरली डिफाइन करूं, हैज टू बी इन अ नेटिव लैंग्वेज सो ही कैन अंडरस्टैंड. और रिस्क, पोटेंशियल रिस्क जो है वो मुझे पता हो. ग्रेट लेवल का इंटेग्रिटी. तो अगर somebody asks me what's the great level integrity in financial institution, I used to give the example of the integrity financial institution would be when institution goes above and beyond to rectify mistake or error could potentially harm its customer. Institution, the guy who's sitting, he must must learn how to say no. Sorry, we can't do this thing. I can facilitate you other institution. If the institution accidentally charge incorrect fee customer, they would promptly identify the issue, take responsibility, proactively refund the affected client without any hesitation. This demonstration of accountability, transparency, and putting client interest first word, it will be showcase great integrity. So what I'm saying is that my request will be, and the conclusion will be, that the great importance of ethical conduct, and we should promote this thing. And also in our L&D, learning and development, in our trainings, ethical trainings, personality development, attitude, behavior, mindset. This is the most important thing. Conversion of a name, financial inclusion, is all depend how good investment you have human beings on their mindset, in their attitude, in their behavior. So may Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala help us, and may Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala make this conference successful, and the participants who are here, may Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala give us this strength so we can change our attitude, behavior promptly the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes it. Jazakumullahu ta'ala wa akhir dawana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Jazakallah, sir. I thanks all the esteemed speakers for their discussion on their specific topics. Ladies and gentlemen, time to move on to the concluding the session 3 and moving on to the shield distribution ceremony. First, I would like to request the Dean Faculty of Management Sciences and Chairman ICB, Professor Dr. Khurram Shahzad, to please come forward. I would like to request Dr. Rashid Mansoor to please come forward and receive your shield. Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call upon Syed Asghar Hussain to please come forward and receive your shield. Now I would request Mr. Ilsam Offer to please come forward and receive your shield. I would like to request Mufti Usama Ehsan to please come forward and receive your shield. Thank you very much. I would like to request all the esteemed speakers to please gather in front of the stage for the group photo. Thank you. The session is closed. Thank you very much, everyone. Now the session has been formally closed. Now we'll formally move towards the paper presentation. And I would like to invite first the moderator of the first session, Professor Dr. Samad, who is the head of Department Rizwa School of Leadership.
First and foremost, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much. Now we are heading towards the paper presentation sessions. So first and foremost, I will introduce the valued session chair and the discussions in a bit of moment. Seems to be in hall. Yeah, please sit there. इनको यहाँ बुला लेंगे दोस्तों, ठीक है। जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, ladies and gentlemen. Myself, Professor Dr. Muhammad Samad. I am being just moderator of this valued session, which title as Islamic Finance and Technology for Sustainable Development. So first and foremost, thank you so much for your patience and joining since early in the morning. And we completely understood that with a bit of delay, but thank you so much for your patience and enthusiastic response. So on behalf of the conference organizing committee and the RCIB core team, we just formally began this session. So let me introduce first the session chair, Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid Saab, who is the figurehead in the field of financial economics and the capital structure dynamics. He is serving as Director General, International Islamic Institute of Economics, International Islamic University, Islamabad. He is known for his valued contribution in the field of financial economics and capital structure and markets since many decades, and trained countless scholars and researchers in this dynamic field of Islamic finance. So thank you so much on behalf of organizing committee, sir, for joining us. Thank you. So I'll request for the clap for the session chair. Thank you so much. Next, we have with us the discussant, Mr. Ishfaq Ahmed Khan Saab, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Zahid Latif Khan K Islamic Financial Services, who is the collaborator in this valued conference as well. So on behalf of the organizing committee, thank you so much, Ishfaq Saab, for joining us. Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Abidullah Khan, who will join us as a discussant for online, and he is the assistant professor of Sakarya University, Turkey. So in this session, we have a few presentations in person, and rest we will join us online. So without any further ado, we just begin and start with the first presentations of Mr. Samiuddin, who is the scholar of Islamic International University. I'll request Ms. Samiuddin Saab to please join us in the meanwhile on stage. Thank you so much. So here his main topic of presentation is legal cum regulatory ultra-wise and non-financial performance of the State Bank of Pakistan in terms of Islamization of economics. So thank you so much, Samiuddin Saab. Please begin.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for providing me this opportunity in front of my teacher and my colleagues. Jazakallah khair. My topic of presentation is legal cum regulatory ultra-wires and non-feasance performance of the State Bank of Pakistan in terms of Islamization of economy, challenges and way forward. Purpose of the research study to examine the State Bank of Pakistan performance regarding making the banking industry riba free. The SBP has three working domains. Performance is a constitutional institution. Performance in line with the foundational banking laws like the State Bank of Pakistan Act 1956, the Banking Companies Ordinance 1962, and the Contract Act 1872. The third one is the performance as a regulator of the Islamic banking industry. Design and methodology. A qualitative content analysis methodology is adopted for examining the banking statutes and relevant courts' judgments. Legal interpretational rules are applied while drawing inferences from the banking statutes and other legal documents. Philosophical basis, there are three philosophical theories are used. The first one is institutional theory for assessing performance of the SBP performance. The second one is the economic theory of the state for assessing the performance of the SBP in line with the constitutional institution like the parliaments and the appellate courts. Tawhidi epistemology is also used to assess the role of the SBP in complete or partial transformation of the banking industry. Interview sampling. Total number of interviews are 15. Types of interviews, semi-structured interviews are conducted. Type of the interview questions, open-ended questions were asked. Number of interviews, question asked in each session, from 21 to 30, including moderating questions. Duration of each interview was 1.5 hours to 2 hours. Interview sampling, demographic details of the interviews. Bankers from the Islamic banking industry, 2 interviews were conducted. The State Bank's officials, 2 interviews were conducted. Sharia advisor, 2 interviews. Religious scholars, 2. Judges from the banking courts, 2. And appellate courts, 2. Banking muhtasib, 1. And legal practitioners, 2. Findings of the study to cover the issue of legal coverage of the State Bank of Pakistan subordinate legislation. The Standing Committee of the Finance Division should formally approve all the existing Sharia regulations. The Supreme Court of Pakistan should judicially review the subordinate legislation of the SBP. To solve the problem of SBP non-feasance performance, it should sufficiently rebuild its capacity about a successful transformation of the economy and industry. The SBP should get rid of the existing dual banking system and has to provide facilitation to convert banks to Islamic banks, conventional banks to Islamic banks. The SBP should frame issues related to the transformation of economy and has to present them through finance division for legislation. The SBP should avoid activities like recently incorporated Islamic banking provisions under Part 2 in the Banking Companies Ordinance because conversely it provided legitimacy to conventional banking as a counterpart to Islamic banking. इसके हवाले से मैं ज़रा एक्सप्लेन करना चाहूँगा कि इसके हवाले से ये जो Part 2 बैंकिंग कंपनीज ऑर्डिनेंस में ये इनकार हुआ तो इसको इस पे लोगों ने बड़ा जश्न मनाया, ख़ुसूसन इस्लामिक बैंक्स वालों ने कि ये तो भाई जनाब ये कि लेजिस्लेशन हो गई है। हालांकि इसका एक काउंटर कन्वर्स इम्पैक्ट भी है कि इससे कन्वेंशनल बैंक्स को एक लेजिटिमेसी मिल गई और इस तरह के डुअल बैंकिंग को एक लेजिटिमेसी मिल गई, जो कि इससे पहले, इस इनकॉर्पोरेशन से पहले कन्वेंशनल बैंक्स अपने लिए कोई पनाह की तलाश में थे। अब जबकि लेजिटिमाइज हो गया, अब 2 स्ट्रीम्स चलेंगे पाकिस्तान में, एक इस्लामिक बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री और दूसरी कन्वेंशनल बैंकिंग इंडस्ट्री। It should draft an independent Sharia Banking Act and present it in the Parliament for approval. The SBP should start withdrawing its administrative support from the capitalistic financialization through the existing dual banking system to eradicate riba-based banking transaction till December 31st, 2026. Constitutionally, the SBP performance is non-feasance because it supports dual banking system. हालांकि फेडरल शरीयत कोर्ट के डिसीजन में तो क्लियर कट लिखा है कि रिबा शुड बी इरेडिकेटेड इन ऑल फॉर्म्स। अब एसबीपी क्या परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं? डुअल बैंकिंग को प्रमोट कर रहे हैं। इसका मतलब है कि जो फेडरल शरीयत कोर्ट का डिसीजन है उस पर पूरा अमल SBP نہیں کر رہا ہے. As complies to the foundational banking laws, performance of the SBP is ultra vires by issuing Sharia regulations to Islamic banking because none of the foundational banking laws explicitly instructs to do so. اب کسی بھی فاؤنڈیشنل لا میں یہ نہیں لکھا ہے بینکنگ کمپنیز آرڈیننس کو دے کے پورا چھان مارے, اور ایس بی پی ایکٹ جو ہے 1956 اس میں یہ نہیں لکھا ہے کہ آپ اسلامک بینکنگ کو سٹارٹ کریں. اب کس کیپیسٹی میں اسلامک بینکنگ شروع کرائی گئی ہے, اس کے کوئی لیگل کور اس کو حاصل نہیں. اس کا مطلب ہے کہ ایس بی پی جو ہے اپنے جو ڈیلیگیٹڈ پاورز ہیں اس سے تجاوز کر رہے ہیں. ایز اے ریگولیٹر آف اسلامک بینکنگ انڈسٹری, the SBP performs specifically by providing irrational Sharia compliance to the conventional banking products and instruments. Research limitation, the SBP should not challenge in future any judgment of appellate courts about the prohibition of riba. اب آپ اندازہ لگائیے اس سے کہ ڈوئل پرفارمنس کو دے کے ایک طرف تو ایس بی پی پروموٹ کر رہا ہے اسلامک بینکنگ, اور دوسری سائڈ پہ آپ دیکھ لیں کہ جب بھی ربا کے حوالے سے ڈیسیجن آیا ہے ایپیلیٹ کورٹ کا تو ایس بی پی سب سے آگے رہا دوسری کمرشل بینکس کے ساتھ, اور چیلنج کیا 1991 سے لے کے 2022 تک جتنے بھی ڈیسیجنس آئے ہیں ہر ڈیسیجن کو ایس بی پی نے چیلنج کیا ہے ایپیلیٹ شریعت کورٹ میں. تو اس کو چاہیے کہ یہ بیہیویئر چھوڑے. The research implications of the study enhance the performance of the SBP within legal, regulatory, and constitutional powers. It also provides suggestions for mitigating the existing intra legal and regulatory conflicts. اب بہت زیادہ کانفلکٹس ہے ریگولیٹری جتنی بھی لاز ہیں اور لیگل جتنے بھی لاز ہیں, جتنے بھی لیجسلیشن ہوئی ریگولیٹری بیسس پہ وہ اسلامک ہے. ایس بی پی نے جتنے بھی سبارڈینیٹ لیجسلیشن کی ہے, مطلب شریعہ ریگولیشنز کے نام سے, سرکولرز کے نام سے, اسٹینڈنگ آرڈرز کے نام سے, اور ان تمام جو ریگولیشنز ہے جس کو ہم سبارڈینیٹ لیجسلیشن کہتے ہیں یا اسٹیچوٹری لیجسلیشن کہتے ہیں, تو ان کو کوئی کور حاصل نہیں ہے. نہ ایس بی پی ایکٹ میں کوئی کور حاصل ہے, نہ بینکنگ کمپنیز آرڈیننس 1962 میں کوئی اس کو لیگل کور حاصل ہے. The main focus of this research is on the implication of the SBP Act, Banking Companies Ordinance 1962 and Articles 38F and 203D and 30 sub-article 2 of the Constitution of 1973. Originality and value, the research work supports the ongoing transformation of economy from interest-based to completely riba-free. It highlights the practical challenges and issues that the process of Islamization faces. It retracts the process of Islamization of the banking sector and determines the actual performance that the SBP must play in compliance with the judgment of the Federal Shariat Court under para 155 of April 28, 2022 about the eradication of riba. It provides insightful recommendations to policymakers, the State Bank of Pakistan, and all stakeholders of the Islamic banking industry. And thank you and Jazakallah khair. Shukriya.
Ji, thank you so much, Samuddin Saab, for your valuable presentation. Now I'll request for a brief overview by the discussant, Mr. Ishfaq Saab.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. میرے تو تھوڑا سا اسٹاک مارکیٹ کا بیک گراؤنڈ ہے, لیکن یہاں پہ اسٹیٹ بینک کے اس سے ہوئی ہے, چونکہ اسلامک فائنانس پاکستان میں جو اسٹارٹ ہوئی ہے وہ اسلامک بینکنگ سے اسٹارٹ ہوئی ہے. تو ہمارے پاس جو بھی لوگ آتے ہیں اسٹاک مارکیٹ میں, اور زیڈ ایل کا اسلامک فائنینشیل پاکستان کی فرسٹ اینڈ اونلی شریعہ کمپلائنٹ بروکریج ہاؤس ہے. تو ہمیں اکثر ایگزامپل دیتے ہیں اسٹیٹ بینک کے یا پھر اسلامک بینکنگ کے. اسلامک بینکنگ اور ہمارا تھوڑا سا تعلق ہے اس حوالے سے بھی کہ کیا کائبور کا ایک مین فیکٹر ہے. میں تھوڑا سا اس کو ریگولیشن کے حوالے سے اسٹیٹ بینک اس پہ بات کر سکتی ہے، لیکن واقعی چیلنجز ہیں، اور چیلنجز زیادہ تر انٹرپرینور سے بھی ہیں، بزنس مین سے بھی ہیں، اور جو آنرز ہیں ان سے بھی ہے. کیونکہ بینگ دا فرسٹ شریعہ کمپلائنٹ بروکریج ہاؤس، ہم نے تھوڑا سا خود سے ریسرچ کیا تھا کہ باقی جو بروکریج ہاؤسز ہیں آلریڈی پاکستان میں ایگزسٹ کرتی ہیں تقریباً 1999 سے، تو وہ آگے فارورڈ کیوں نہیں ہو رہی ہیں اور شریعہ کمپلائنٹ بروکریج ہاؤسز کیوں نہیں لا کے آ رہی. تو اس میں مین ایشو یہ تھا سب کا کہ فیزیبلٹی نہیں ہے، فیزیبلٹی ان ٹرمز آف پروفٹس. تو اس کے لیے ایک پوری کلیکٹیو ول پاور کی ضرورت ہے. میرے خیال میں جو اسٹیٹ بینک کے اندر لوگ بیٹھے ہیں یا اس طرح سیکورٹی ایکسچینج کمیشن کے اندر لوگ بیٹھے ہیں، تو ان کی طرف سے ول پاور کی ضرورت ہے کہ وہ اس چیز کو آگے فارورڈ کر سکیں. دوسری مین جو ایشو ہے کنزیومر کے حوالے سے، تو کنزیومر کو کانفیڈنس نہیں ہے. کنزیومر کو نہ بینکس پہ، اسلامک بینکس پہ کانفیڈنس ہے، نہ اسلامک یا شریعہ کمپلائنٹ بروکریج ہاؤسز پہ کانفیڈنس ہے. میزان بینک جب آیا تھا شروع میں 2008-2009 میں، تو ان کو بھی اس چیز کا کافی چیلنجز تھے اور لوگوں نے اس کو مذاق اڑایا تھا. آج سب سے بہترین بینک پاکستان میں میزان بینک سمجھا جاتا ہے. تو اس طرح شاید ہمارے جو کیپٹل مارکیٹس میں انسٹیٹیوٹس ہیں جو کہ ابھی شریعہ کمپلائنٹ آ رہی ہیں، این بی ایف سیز آ رہی ہیں، بروکریج ہاؤسز آ رہی ہیں، ان کو بھی یہ چیلنجز ہیں، اور شاید وہ بھی کچھ دنوں بعد پھر ایسی ہوں کہ لوگ اس کو ایکسیپٹ کر سکیں. لیکن اویئرنیس کی بہت زیادہ ضرورت ہے. ایک مسکنسیپشن یہی ہے کہ آپ سے جو بھی بندہ ملتا ہے تو ایک بات کرتا ہے کہ جسٹ انٹرسٹ ریٹ کو پروفٹ کا نام دیا گیا اسلامک بینکس میں، لیکن ایسا بالکل نہیں ہے. اسلامک بینکس ہیں یا کیپٹل مارکیٹس ہیں یا جو بھی این بی ایف سیز وغیرہ انسٹیٹیوٹس ہیں، تو وہ بیسیکلی انکریج کرتی ہیں جو بھی ٹرانزیکشن ہوتی ہے کہ ایک ریئل کموڈیٹی کی ہی مومنٹ ہو، جسٹ پیسے کی مومنٹ نہ ہو، ریئل کموڈیٹی کی مومنٹ ہو. دیٹ مینس کہ آپ نے کوئی لون دیا ہے تو اس سے کوئی ریئل کموڈیٹی پرچیز کی گئی ہے. اب اس کا فائدہ یہ ہے کہ ایک تو امپلائمنٹ کے حوالے سے ہے، اکانومی میں جو ایکٹیویٹیز ہیں وہ زیادہ ہو جاتی ہیں، تو ایک ٹوٹل جو اکانومی کی یا اسٹیٹ کی ویل بینگ ہے وہ امپروو ہوتی ہے. اب ویل بینگ کا تعلق یا اس کے امپرومنٹ کا تعلق زیادہ تر چونکہ ایتھکس ہے، اور ایتھکس موسٹلی پارٹ نہیں ہے کنونشنل سسٹم کا، چونکہ جو مین آبجیکٹیو ہے کسی بھی کنونشنل سسٹم کا وہ پروفٹس ہوتی ہیں. یہاں پہ ایتھکس بھی آتی ہیں. اب جس طرح KMI آل شیئر ہے، کراچی میزان انڈیکس آل شیئر، جس میں 258 کمپنیز شریعہ کمپلائنٹ کمپنیز ہیں اسٹاک ایکسچینج پہ. اس کا جو اسکریننگ کرائٹیریا وہ صرف یہ نہیں ہے کہ اس کمپنی کا بزنس جو ہے نان شریعہ یا شریعہ ہے، بلکہ اس کا کرائٹیریا یہ بھی ہے کہ اس کی پروفیٹیبلٹی جو ہے وہ سسٹینیبل ہے، اس کے بیلنس شیٹ پہ جو ڈیٹ پورشن ہے وہ کتنا ہے. اب یہ جو چیزیں ہیں یہ زیادہ تر کنونشنل فائنانس سے ہی آئی ہیں، لیکن وہ خود اس کو انکلوڈ نہیں کر رہی. اس کرائٹیریا سے اگر کوئی اسٹاک اسکرین آؤٹ ہو جاتا ہے تو اچھا لوگ پھر یہی کویشچن کرتے ہیں کہ ٹھیک ہے، نائک بزنس کا جو نیچر ہے وہ اگر نان شریعہ ہے یا شریعہ ہے، اس کا شریعت کے ساتھ تعلق ہے، لیکن پروفیٹیبلٹی کا، ڈیٹ کا اور ان چیزوں کا کیسے تعلق ہے؟ تو بیسیکلی ایتھکس کا پارٹ ہے. تو ایتھکس کا پھر ویل بینگ کے ساتھ تعلق ہے، لوگ کی بہتری کے ساتھ تعلق ہے. تو اس طرح یہ جو اوورال لینڈسکیپ ہے فائنانس کا وہ تبھی امپروو ہوگا اگر اس میں ایتھیکل جو ججمنٹس ہیں اس کے انکلوژن ہو. मेरे ख्याल में जिस तरह इस पेपर में भी हाईलाइट किया गया कि रेगुलेटर्स की तरफ से चैलेंजेस हैं कि उसका विल पावर जो है, उसकी इंटेंशन जो है, वो इस्लामिक फाइनेंस की तरफ कंप्लीट हो, इन फुल हो। और जब ये माइंड मानेगा कि इस्लामिक फाइनेंस जो है वो एक्सेप्टेबल है, वो ज़रूरी चीज़ है, तो वो फिर बहुत आसानी से प्रिवेल भी कर जाएगा। थैंक यू सो मच, बहुत शुक्रिया आपका।
And I'll request a brief review of Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid Saab on this paper.
Thank you. First of all, I really, appreciate the effort of the Rifa University for organizing the conference and this event on very hot and important topic. And definitely the paper presented here. So actually, what I understand, the message coming from the paper and the objective, whether the State Bank of Pakistan, being a regulatory body, is playing its role in transforming the economy. This is the riba-free economy. So this was there. And of course, the finding of the paper, so actually, to some extent, or we can say maybe to great extent, the statement Pakistan has been failed. But the paper actually, this we need to actually set the criteria at what parameters we are actually, observing this, the role of the State Bank of Pakistan. So the first we need to look at the structure of the Pakistan economy. Of course, as we already know, this Islamic banking part is the 20%. It means the 80% the conventional banking sector exists in Pakistan. And in Pakistan economy, where the capital market is very small, whether we talk about the the bonds market, or you can say the equity market, the dominant market in Pakistan is the debt market. And Islamic banking, we can even see further, the dominant part is the Islamic banking rather than the Islamic the finance. And when we talk about the distribution of the debt in Pakistan, that is very strange. And everybody know 70%, about 70%, the fund are invested in the government securities. And the remaining, the private sector in Pakistan has only 30 or 35%. This is the including Islamic banks. Why in Pakistan, the Islamic bank and the financial institutions, they love to actually park their liquidity in the government securities, just because at the cost of the, you can say, the savers, they are earning a lot of the profit. And the private sector share in Pakistan is very small, so the government share is very large. Of course, we have the dual banking system, where we have the one type of the monetary policy. And one of the big question mark is on the independence of the central bank, whether really central bank in Pakistan is working independently, whether really Central Bank of Pakistan in Pakistan has mandate whatever they want to do, and whatever they want to make the the regulation, they can do it. And this is the question mark. And we all understand the federal government and what is called the, you can say, the finance division of the Pakistan, or they have very prominent role. And there is the regarding from the borrowing to setting the interest rate, in the Pakistan, whether the really the monetary policy is designed to facilitate the Islamic banking sector, or their objectives are different, or their objective is just, the large objective is to stabilize the currency. So if we will look at these the aspects, then we can understand actually the role of the state bank. They are doing, and they have done a lot of part, the lot of the things at their own, at their part regarding the rule of regulations. But the how this the whole economy, even after this the Shariat code decisions, we would be really transformed from conventional to Islamic economics and the riba free economics. For that purpose, we don't need only, or it is not enough only the Islamic banking system. We need here Islamic economic system, where wage rate, labor market, commodity trades, exports, imports, and even the production should be on the principle of the Sharia. And of course, this is not only the duty of the Islamic financial institutions. to fulfill the Maqasid al-Sharia, I think this is the duty of the all individuals, all organizations, all communities, and all institutions working in Pakistan. So this decision is very good decision. We should welcome, and of course there is the progress. Different, you can say, the quarters and the stakeholders are working on that, including the State Bank of Pakistan. But things take times, and given the circumstances of the Pakistan and the conditions and our both the economic conditions, where we are facing severe economic issues in Pakistan regarding from the deficit to trade deficit, budget deficit to trade deficit, productions, low productivity, low exports, huge volume of the imports, and the unemployment we have. So keeping in mind these all things, on the one side these things provide opportunities and seems very fascinating. We can easily convert our financial systems the riba free and the based on, you can say, the Sharia principle. But on the other side there are a lot of challenges, and I think the just the over and above the rule of regulations, we need to do a lot if we really want to convert our economy and we want to make our economy the riba free. This is the one part. The second is as we already the here have the discussions in the early sessions. So this is the one part when we actually give the name or we convert everything into the the Islamic or the Sharia compliant. The second is whether really we are getting the benefit. Of course we are Muslim and we have strong faith. Riba free economy or the riba free Islamic system has the solution of everything, and riba is prohibited. But now the question is here, the another question, and the question is whether really we are getting the benefit and we have the solution, and whether really we are actually harvesting the benefit associated with this system. For that we need to do a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the valued remarks. Now we'll proceed with the presentations and we'll seek the valued inputs from our discussant, the session share at the end as per the time constraints. So now I'll request Mufti Rizwanullah, who is the MS Scholar of Rifa International University, to enlighten us on the topic of Introduction to Ijtihad.
ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: شاوروا الفقهاء والعابدين ولا تمضوا فيه راية خاصة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. آج کی دنیا بہت تیز رفتاری کے ساتھ بدل رہی ہے. جہاں تک مالیاتی نظام، معیشت، انشورنس اور ڈیجیٹل ٹیکنالوجیز، انویسٹمنٹ کے میدانوں میں روز نئی جہتیں سامنے آ رہی ہے، تو اسلامی فقہ کا کام صرف ماضی کے مسائل کا حل بتانا نہیں ہے، بلکہ حال اور مستقبل میں جو مسائل آئیں گے ان کا حل بتانا بھی ضروری ہے، اور یہی اجتہاد کی روح ہے. اجتہاد، اس کے بارے میں ہمارے ہاں افراط اور تفریط پائی جاتی ہے. افراط اس لیے کہ آج کل ہر ایک اجتہاد کرتا ہے اور ہر چیز میں اجتہاد کرتا ہے، حالانکہ ہر چیز میں اجتہاد نہیں چلتی. ٹیکسٹ میں جب نص موجود ہو تو پھر there is no value of our opinion، تو وہاں پھر ہم تسلیم کریں گے. اور اسی طرح لوگ اجتہاد کریں گے تو اجتہاد کے جو اصول ہے ان کو نظر انداز کرتے ہیں، جو کہ بہت بڑی خرابی کی بات ہے. ابھی میں جب اس پہ لکھ رہا تھا میں نے تقریباً 4-5 کتابیں بالاستعاب مطالعہ کیا، تو وہاں میں نے دیکھا جہاں اجتہاد کے بہت سے فائدے ہیں تو وہاں نقصانات بھی ہے. نقصانات یہ ہے جب اجتہاد کا کوئی اہل نہیں ہوتا وہ اجتہاد کرتا ہے تو پھر خرابی سامنے آتی ہے. اور تفریط اس زاویے سے پائی جاتی ہے کہ آج کل بعض کہتے ہیں کہ اجتہاد کا دروازہ بند ہوا ہے، حالانکہ یہ کہیں بھی نہیں لکھا ہوا ہے. قرآن سے لے کر آج تک جتنے بھی فقہا کی کتابیں ہیں وہاں یہ بات آپ کو نہیں ملے گی کہ اجتہاد کا دروازہ بند ہوا ہے. تو یہ بات کہاں سے آ گئی؟ یہ ایک بہت ہی بڑی غلط فہمی ہے. آج کل اسلامی بینکنگ ہم دیکھیں اور اسی طرح انشورنس تکافل اور اس کے علاوہ بہت سے مسائل ہیں نماز کے بارے میں اور حج کے بارے میں, تو وہاں تو یہ پہلی والی کتابوں میں نہیں تھی, بلکہ آج یہ مسائل ہے اور ان کا حل بھی نکالا گیا ہے اور اس پر ہم عمل کرتے ہیں. تو پھر یہ کہاں سے آیا اور ہم اس پر عمل کیوں کرتے ہیں؟ تو اس میں اعتدال یہ ہے کہ اجتہاد کے جو اہل لوگ ہیں, جو ایلیجیبل ہے فار اجتہاد, وہ اجتہاد کریں. اور اسی طرح آج کل جو جس کی زیادہ ضرورت ہے وہ کولیکٹیو اجتہاد کی, اجتماعی اجتہاد کی آج کل زیادہ ضرورت ہے, کیونکہ آج کل تخصصات کا دور ہے. ایک بندہ وہ فقہ میں بھی ماہر ہو, قرآن میں بھی ماہر ہو, حدیث میں بھی ماہر ہو, معیشت میں بھی ماہر ہو, اقتصاد میں بھی ماہر ہو, یہ ہو ہی نہیں سکتا. طب میں بھی ماہر ہو, سیاست میں بھی ماہر ہو, تو یہ ہو نہیں سکتا. اس لیے آج کل ضرورت اس بات کی ہے کہ مفتیان کے ساتھ باقی فیلڈ کے ٹیکنالوجیز کے جو ماہرین ہیں وہ بھی آئے, معیشت دان ہے, قانون دان ہے, وہ بھی آئے, تو ایک موضوع کو ڈسکس کرے, پھر اس کے مطابق حل نکالا جائے. اور اجتہاد کے پھر اپنی شرائط ہے, وہ یہ ہے کہ آدمی قرآن اور سنت میں ماہر ہو اور اس طرح عربی میں ماہر ہو. اور اس کے ساتھ ساتھ جیسا کہ میں نے ابھی کہا کہ اس کے لیے یہ بھی ضروری ہے کہ جو ہر فیلڈ کے ماہرین ہیں ان کو بھی ساتھ ملائے اور اجتہاد کیا جائے. اس کے بعد یہ چند کنٹمپوریری فائنینشیل چیلنجز ہے جو آج کل ہمارے ہاں پایا جاتا ہے اور لوگوں کو بھی بڑی تشویش میں ڈالا ہے, اور لوگ پوچھتے بھی ہے کہ کرپٹو کرنسی کیا یہ کرنسی ہے یا نہیں, اور اس میں ہم پیسے لگا سکتے ہیں, انویسٹ اس میں ہم پیسے کر سکتے یا نہیں. تو اس کے بارے میں بھی آج کل جو ہے یہ بہت امپورٹنٹ چیلنجز ہے. تو اس میں بھی آج کل اجتہاد کی شدید ضرورت ہے. کرپٹو کرنسی اور بلاک چین اور اس طرح ڈیجیٹل بینکنگ اینڈ فینٹیک میں بھی بہت سے مسائل ہیں, اور آج کل تو اس کے جس طرح اسلامی بینکنگ کے شریعہ بورڈ ہے اسی طرح پراپر سسٹم فینٹیک میں نہیں ہے. تو یہ بھی ایک موقع ہے کہ اس میں اجتہاد کیا جائے جتنا جلدی ہو سکے. اور اس طرح اسمارٹ کانٹریکٹس ہیں, اسمارٹ کانٹریکٹ اس کو کہتے ہیں کہ جو یعنی وہ جو بلاک چین پر ڈیجیٹل معاہدے خود جو ہے وہ درآمد ہوتے ہیں, خود عمل درآمد ہوتے ہیں. تو اس کی شرعی حیثیت کیا ہے, اور اس کے ساتھ ساتھ آن لائن ٹرانزیکٹ یعنی جو معاہدے یا جو انٹرنیٹ کے ذریعے لین دین ہوتا ہے, تو یہ بھی ہے کہ اس میں تو مجلس عقد نہیں ہوتی, تو اس پر بھی بات کی گنجائش ہے اور اجتہاد کی گنجائش ہے اس میں. اور اس کے ساتھ ہیومن کیپٹل انویسٹمنٹ ہے اور اے آئی ہے. اے آئی بھی ہے آج کل, تو اس کا جو ہے وہ بہت چرچا ہے اور لوگ اس سے مسائل بھی پوچھتے ہیں, تو کیا اس کا فتویٰ معتبر ہوتا ہے یا نہیں. تو اس میں بھی اجتہاد کی گنجائش ہے. وہ یہ ہے کہ اس کا فتویٰ معتبر نہیں ہوتا, لیکن ہم اس سے مدد اور ہیلپ لے سکتے ہیں. اس کے بعد یہ جو ہم ابھی ان تمام مسائل میں اجتہاد کو نئی روح کیسے دے سکتے ہیں, تو پہلی بات تو یہ ہے کہ کولیکٹیو اجتہاد کیا جائے. اور اسی طرح صرف مفتی کا کام صرف یہ نہیں ہوتا کہ بتائے کہ یہ حرام ہے اور پھر اس پہ خاموش ہو جائے, نہیں, بلکہ اس کی ذمہ داری رسپانسبلٹی یہ بھی ہے کہ وہ اس کا متبادل بھی بتائے. جس طرح یوسف علیہ السلام نے صرف خواب کی تعبیر بیان نہیں فرمائی بلکہ اس کا حل بھی پیش فرمایا. اور اس کے ساتھ ساتھ ماڈرن ٹیکنالوجی سیکھ جائے. انفارچونیٹلی آج کل یونیورسٹیز اور مدارس کے درمیان بہت ہی بڑا گیپ ہے, تو اگر اسی طرح کی جائے کہ یونیورسٹیز والے مدارس میں آ جائے اور مدارس والے یونیورسٹیز میں آ جائیں, تو پھر اجتہاد اس سے آسان ہو جائے گا. اور اسی طرح الائن ود مقاصد کی روشنی میں اجتہاد کیا جائے تاکہ لوگوں کو زیادہ سے زیادہ فائدہ پہنچ جائے. السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ.
جی, thank you so much, Mufti Rizwanullah Khan sahab. Now we'll proceed for the other presenter who will join us online from Indonesia, and her topic of presentation is Navigate Islamic Blended Finance to ECG and Digitalization. So do we have Khairunisa Sari with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Ji,
Can
thank you so
you
much.
hear my voice?
Thank you so much for joining in. You just about to be displayed by our IT team, and then we will begin. We are audible to you? We are audible?
will be operated by operator. Is it right?
Yes, yes, yeah, yes.
Yes.
We are able to listen to you. Please proceed with the presentation and try to complete within 5 minutes. Thank you.
Yes. I think my voice is clear, yeah? Is right?
Yes, yes. It is being displayed,
Okay.
so you can.
Yes. Thank you, moderator, Prof. Muhammad Sarmat, and also session chair, Dr. Abdul Rasid. Thank you also for the organizer, the Ripah International University, for the 7th International Conference on Islamic Business. I would like to present my paper entitled Navigating Islamic Blended Finance to Environmental, Social, and Governance and Digitalization by taking case study of case wakaf link suku in Indonesia. In 2023, case wakaf link suku won the Islamic Development Bank Prize for Impactful Achievement in Islamic Economics. I have 5 agendas, and let's move to the first one. Case wakaf link suku, an Islamic blended finance, another variant of suku in fiscal policy in Indonesia. Please, next slide. Yeah, this study explores case wakaf link suku in Indonesia. This instrument are designed to bridge Islamic social finance and Islamic commercial finance within an ESG oriented framework. Specifically, this study aims to analyze how CWLS integrates ESG concepts and leverage digital technology through the Islamic Quintuple Helix framework to enhance transparency, efficiency, and impact in financing sustainable projects. Okay, next slide. This table shows the performance of the retail cash wakaf link suku series since the first issuance in 2020. The government of Indonesia has issued 5 series for retail cash wakaf link suku. Meanwhile, for non-retail cash wakaf link suku with series SW without R are issued through a private placement approach with the offering method. It means this type of cash wakaf link suku is offered exclusively to a selected groups of investor, usually institutional entities or government agencies, rather than being made available to the broader public like the series SWR or retail cash wakaf link suku. Next slide. This is the scheme of retail cash wakaf link suku through book building method, started from the individual or institution wakif submits the cash wakaf fund through distribution partners, namely Islamic banks, which are Islamic financial institutions receiving cash wakaf. We call it in Indonesia LKS PWU with 2 options, namely temporary cash wakaf or perpetual cash wakaf. Next slide. This is the implementation of ESG oriented framework from cash wakaf link suku. Next slide. Yeah, this is the environmental oriented project or programs from CWLS. This environment oriented program and projects collectively aim to promote sustainable agriculture, livestock development, and renewable energy to enhance food and energy security, particularly in rural and underdeveloped areas in Indonesia. Initiatives such as the utilization of non-productive land for livestock and plantations, hydroponic agriculture, and rice seed cultivation, etc. This is the projects by cash wakaf link suku retail. Next slide. And this is the social oriented projects programs. We can see here economic and community empowerment are another core focus of the social-oriented project and programs by Nadir or Wakaf managers, with programs that provide capital assistance, mentoring, and training for micro, small, medium enterprises, as well as a productive economic Wakaf initiative like livestock projects, urban farming, and the Indonesia Santri. Santri is student in Halal Kitchen program. Next slide. This is the governance-oriented projects programs focused on enhancing the institutional framework and accountability mechanism within the CWLS ecosystem. This include the issuance of Syariah compliance statement by the National Syariah Council, Indonesian Ulama Council for each CWLS series to ensure alignment with Islamic principles. Digitalization efforts also to support transparent and efficient wakaf participation by enabling wakif to register transaction and receive official document online via integrated financial technology platforms. Next slide. This is Islamic Quintuple Helix framework. Next slide. To facilitate knowledge creation, the triple helix model in the past, in conventional, highlights the interconnected roles of three key factors: innovation ecosystem, academic or universities, industry, and government. As an innovation framework grounded in the interaction among three pillars, the triple helix eventually gave rise to the more comprehensive quadruple helix model by adding the technology. The Islamic helix approach has not been widely explored. The available references are not non-existent, but still very limited. One of the Islamic helix approach is the Islamic entuple helix, where one of the phases of which is the Islamic quintuple helix, like we see in this monitor. There are two models in Islamic quintuple helix, and let's move the next slide. This is the institutional arrangement in the Islamic quintuple helix framework. The CWLS ecosystem reflects sextuple helix rather than quintuple helix, because I found that environment and also academic universities exist in the field of CWLS ecosystem. Next slide. This is the framework of Islamic sextuple helix. Environment and also university are not option, but includes in this model. Next slide. This is the survey insight by Directorate of Islamic Financing, the issuer of CWLS from Ministry of Finance of Republic Indonesia. We can see here from 3,698 total respondents, consists 74% existing CWLS wakif or investors, and to the 26% potential CWLS wakif as part of total respondents, indicated that 16% respondent who usually distribute their social donation through online donation platform. the study highlighted that most of respondents directly distribute their donation to beneficiaries, local mosques, local donation agency, etc. And in addition, the online purchase of CWLS only started with the issuance the second series. The first series still there were not online purchasing. Started from the second series. And we can see here also referring to press release by Directorate of Islamic Financing from Ministry of Finance in Indonesia, so that the issuance result of the latest CWLS indicated that almost 100% of retail Waqif purchase through online. And I think the next slide, the last. This is the finding. Maybe the second and third. The fulfillment of both models of the Islamic quintuple helix have university and also environment. So CWLS ecosystem toward the Islamic sextuple helix. And the third, the development of an electronic system for registering and purchasing CWLS through financial technology in Islamic banking doesn't seem to automatically increase investor participation. But the good news, the result of the issuance of the latest CWLS indicated that almost 100% of retail Waqif purchased by online. It's enough. Thank you for listening. Back to you,
Thank you so much, Ms. Musari, for your valued guidelines for your topic. Now we'll proceed for another presenter who will join us online from Turkey. This is Uzat Shimshavi, who will enlighten us regarding the topic of legal and ethical foundations of green finance.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good afternoon. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the organizing committee of ICIB 7, the hosting institution, RIFA International University, and all institutions involved in making this conference possible. Your efforts in bringing us together to discuss these critical topics are truly commendable. So today, I'm honored to speak about the legal and ethical foundations of the green economy from an Islamic perspective. So understanding these foundations is not just an academic endeavor, but a necessity for fostering a more ethical and sustainable global economy. So can I lead the presentation file, or can you move forward? Yeah. When we look at the existing literature, I will go shortly for the time consideration. So we can come across with the terms like sustainability, the green economy, and the green finance. Apparently, it's related to the growing awareness of the environmental challenges facing the planet, such as climate change and resource depletion and biodiversity loss. Even though the green economy is pretty widespread these days, we think it's missing some real philosophical and ethical depth. It doesn't really challenge the deeper systems that lead to things like overconsumption and inequality in the first place. The growing popularity of the green economy has led to increasing pressure on various financial and economic systems, including Islamic finance and Islamic economics, to align with the green narrative. To the best of our knowledge, there is no existing study that establishes the green dimension of Islamic economics from a jurisprudential, fiqhi and ethical, akhlaqi perspective. Of course, with the terms legal and ethical, fiqhi and we don't necessarily mean the two separate types of foundations, but rather, according to Islamic law, as you know, every Islamic ruling has its ethical side also. This is what mujtahids call حكم قضائي and حكم دياني. So the purpose of the study is to substantiate the green economy from an Islamic perspective. When it comes to general traits of green economy, the first and the major term is sustainability, which refers to the ability to meet and present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, whether it's socially or economically or environmentally. So the sustainability is the goal, and the sustainable development is the path. And the green economy provides the framework and tools for this journey. And another crucial point is reflected in the motto doing more or producing more with less resources, using natural resources like energy, water, and etc. in smart and efficient and sustainable way. So in this context, both natural capital protection and ecological responsibility are essential principles that guide sustainable development and environmental stewardship by safeguarding ecosystems and biodiversity, valuing nature, preventing irreversible damage to the environment. And of course, there are many legal regulations that underline the green economy narrative, but we will not mention them. It will be included in the full paper. And can we go further? The next slide, the next page.
Uzid, as per time constraint,
No,
I request to
can you-
complete within few minutes.
Yeah, of course. I can summarize this. Yeah. Can you go further? The next slide, to the next slide, please. The other, the following one. Yeah, thank you. So at the heart of Islamic economy lies the foundational idea of stewardship khilafa, as we all know. This principle views humans as God's trustees on the earth, Khalifatullahi fil ardi, which is beautifully expressed in the hadith, Inna dunya hulwatun khadra. This dunya, this world is sweet and it's green. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ مُسْتَخْلِفُكُمْ فِيهَا فَيَنْظُرُ كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ. And surely Allah has appointed you as His stewards within it to see how you will act and behave. So the role of stewardship implies a profound responsibility, amana, to manage the earth and its resources responsibly. And the other injunction of Islam is the prohibition of israf, which refers to any form of excess or wastefulness. And it's not limited to material consumption, but extends to time and resources and even emotions. And the other point, the core idea in the Islamic green economy is prioritizing what we truly need and our needs, prioritizing our needs. A concept deeply rooted in Islamic legal theory through ideas like maqasid al-sharia, fiqh al-awlawiyat, or fiqh al-mizan. So essentially, Islamic teachings distinguish between genuine needs and mere wants, which can be referred to as embellishments or tahsiniyat in maqasid language. So needs should be organized according to the hierarchy of daruriyat, hajiyat, and tahsiniyat. This means that from an Islamic perspective, focusing on producing or consuming excessive luxuries like supercars or fancy gadgets or, for example, enormous skyscrapers is discouraged, especially when many people around the world struggle to meet their basic needs such as food, clothing, and shelter. And another point is, in Islamic thought, the concept of rights is divided into main two areas: the rights of people, حقوق العباد, and the rights of God, حقوق الله. And all these rights are sacred in Islam and must protected. Just as it's wrong to infringe upon individual human rights in Islam, it's equally serious and dangerous to violate public rights, حقوق العامة, which are collective human rights and represented or considered as God's rights in large in Islamic jurisprudence. Under this framework, seas, rivers, mountains, forests, and all their flora and fauna and retrievable resources fall under Allah's rights. So therefore, anyone who uses or wastes these resources irresponsibly is seen as violating these rights, Allah's rights. And we can, we have other injunctions.
Dr. Uzit,
So
sorry
I'm going to, I'm coming to conclusion.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Can you skip this slide? Yeah. So based on the given information, I can conclude that Islamic economics, by its foundational principles, is inherently aligned with environmental sustainability. So there is no need to improve any aspect of it, as it already complies with the green narrative. Furthermore, I claim that Islamic green economy transcends and excels the limited scope of green economy, modern green economy, in terms of epistemology, divine ethical framework, in practical aspect, and as well as in social justice and wealth distribution. And the last point I'd like to draw your attention, the attention of the audience, is that in every our financial and economical actions, we should carefully preserve the core of Islamic economics without being affected or swayed by temporary and popular movements like exaggerated sustainability or Islamic ESG or Islamic moral ethical economy or so-called Islamic green economy. This is because Islamic economics and finance are by their very nature already sustainable, moral, and environmentally conscious. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Uzat. So now we'll proceed for another international participant from Turkey, Ms. Habiba Pasun. Ms. Habiba, are we audible to you? Her topic is Sharia and digital currencies, and I request, as per time constraints, Habiba, kindly complete it within 4 to 5 minutes. In the meantime, if there is a technical deficiency, so we can proceed for the last one, that is Hamid Waqas. Hamid Waqas, are you online with us from Tashkent?
Yes, I'm here. So we can continue with our presentation.
Right, Hamid Waqas, you can proceed with the presentation when the presentation is being displayed. So as per time constraints, I'll request, so please be precise and try to complete it within 4 to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you for arranging this awesome conference. And I've been here since morning and listening to all the distinguished speakers, and I really enjoyed this. Without wasting time, my topic is about factor affecting intentions to adopt Islamic pension system in Uzbekistan, because now the current pension system of Uzbekistan is not surviving and having some financial troubles due to increasing government state budget. So can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, there are some, the total population of Uzbekistan is 37.5 million, out of which basically 5.3% population is above 65 plus. It means that they are practically unemployed people, those who have to be taken care of government. In Uzbekistan, there is a system that all the employees people, even they are in the public sector or the private sector, they receive pension from the government after the certain age or 25 years of their assist. So this is just short introduction about this one. Because of time constraint, I will go quickly. Now, basically, the state donations, or you can say the portion towards the pension system, is about 14.7 trillion Uzbek som, which is almost 5.3% of GDP, which is very huge for a developing country where they have more areas to spend, like youth development, social welfare, and physical projects. So in this case, can we go to the next one? So this current pension system is managed by the Ministry of Finance through the Hulk Bank, which is a state-owned commercial bank, and they have mandate to employ 65% of total pension funds into pension deposits for commercial loaning purposes. Now, basically, the purpose of this 65% indicating here that the revenue is mainly coming from the credit loans for the as income or revenues for these pension funds, and which is basically introducing them with some credit risk. So in this situation, the government is facing a huge problem to fund the pension funds from their state budget, as I mentioned earlier, 5.3% of GDP, which is very huge for a developing country. So in this case, we Ministry of Finance in Uzbekistan is looking for alternative options that which can be adopted. So our authors, along with me, of course, we are trying to propose a alternate financial system which is based on the Islamic pension system. So Islamic banking system will be will be on the back of this pension system. Right? Let's go to the next slide. As I earlier said, the current pension system is struggling to fulfill the needs of the people in Uzbekistan. So due to two major problems. First, the growing pension payments to sustain minimum livelihood for the population, as the inflation is very high here. You can imagine that the US dollar is of $1 is of 13,000 Uzbek som. So the inflation is on very rise. Second, the growing aging population. The population average age is here is 80 plus. So you can imagine the growing aging population is another burden, creating another burden for the Ministry of Finance to fund their pension systems. So in this case, we are basically proposing another alternate pension system, which is based on the Islamic Sharia banking system. So could you please go to the next slide? So many of the basically previous researchers have argued that the Islamic pension system or the Islamic banking system have survived more better in the crisis like the COVID 2008. So by nature, Islamic financial system has a more resistance towards the financial crisis. In this way, we can say that the Islamic pension system is more sustainable as compared to the conventional pension system that is in effect in Uzbekistan. So if we say, look at the word Islamic pension system, basically is only, we can say that this is a term that is used by the scholars because of their nature of profit and loss sharing instead of speculation and gharar. So that's why, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't fit for all other nations or other people who are not Islamic. So this pension system is, if we say in alternative words, we can say that this is pension system based on the profit and loss sharing basis. And it is equally beneficial for the Islamic and non-Islamic peoples. Let's go to the next slide. We have proposed here theory of planned behavior. We can move to the original framework after 2 slides because of it will take time otherwise. Could you please turn the slide forward? So this is our research objectives, and based on this, we have to find the relationship between the intentions to adopt Islamic pension system and facets of theory of planned behavior, because for now there is no pension system which is based on Islamic that can be adopted. That's why we have to measure the intentions. For measuring the intentions, we have used here theory of planned behavior, that how people are planning to adopt or to react on some coming system. And our contribution here is to find the mediating role of perceived benefits on relationship between intentions to adopt Islamic system and facets of theory of planned behavior. Next slide, please.
Hamid Sahab, the model and the objectives are completely understood. So can we ask and request you for the findings of the study so that we can conclude?
Sure. We can go directly to our regression analysis. So please change the slides and go to the, I think, after 7 slides. So these are all hypotheses we have collected. We have collected the data from all the people who are employed in the government or non-government system. Next, please. Data collection was ethical. We have informed consent, and the participants were known for what purpose we are using the data. So this is our hypothesis testing and practical implementations. As I can see, you are rushing, and I don't want to bound all the participants here. So I hope this is enough. But in our preliminary results, we have found that the intentions to adopt Islamic pension system is influenced by the controlled behavior, perceived behavior, and subjective norms. Similarly, our perceived benefits were also moderating the impact of these variables with intentions to adopt Islamic pension system. So these are our practical implementation. It will be easy to translate in terms of theory of planned behavior. Interesting finding is that the control belief do not impact the perceived behavior control. This is good because our perceived behavioral controls are not controlled by any other factor, which is maybe the government support, or maybe the government control, or maybe the habits that we have to save, something like this. And there may be subset of people who purchase Islamic pension system for religious reasons, but mainly reason here perceived benefit is the materialistic approach, like the financial rewards. So this is from my side.
Thank you so much, Hamid. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your valued contributions and knowledge sharing. Now we'll proceed for the conclusion of the session, and I'll request for the brief closing remarks by the discussant who joined online with us, Dr. Abdullah Khan from Skara University, Turkey. So, Dr. Saab, are you online with us? So kindly enlighten us with your brief remarks.
Thank you very much. I think I should go to discuss or recommend some suggestions on all the papers one by one. So the first paper that was presented by Samiuddin. This paper addresses the pressing issue on the role of the performance of State Bank of Pakistan in actually transforming the current system, the conventional system, into completely riba-free banking system. So one of the main focus of the study is that it is diving into the legal and regulatory framework, and then trying to dig out the findings on the basis of that. But I think that there should be a cross-comparative analysis in which the pragmatic should be introduced. We have to see the pragmatic constraints of a state bank that it is facing, such as global financial obligations and market readiness that may need to be incorporated. Secondly, when there is no public pressure, I think the government do not take it seriously. And for that, I say that State Bank is not only the responsible authority, but the Islamic banks are responsible as well, because those people to whom we give like trainings and to let them know what Islamic banking is. And when they come to Islamic bank, they usually when take the or avail the products of Islamic bank, they see that there is no difference between the communication that they make with the front end relationship managers of Islamic bank or the conventional bank. So because these relationship managers are pushed to sell the products, so that ethical dimension disappears, which make it similar to them, that conventional Islamic banking is the same. And this was discussed by Mufti Najib as well in his session, that the Islamic banks need to train their employees by highlighting the ethical perspective as well. So that's how we can train the public as well to push the government to introduce full Islamic banking system. The second paper was on an introduction to Ijtihad, its significance and role in the modern era, which was presented by Rizwanullah. Now, the study was theoretical in its substance, so the study would benefit greatly from the empirical or case studies as well, if these are introduced.
Sorry for the interruption, Dr. Sab, but instead of going towards papers, we will like to have your brief remarks on the theme of this session, that Islamic finance and technology overall.
All right.
Thank you.
So basically, what the theme of this specific session was on the Islamic finance and technology for sustainable development. So as one of the paper was also on the sustainable development and green finance as well. So basically, the Islamic finance is nowadays more linked towards green finance and sustainable development. And a lot of work has been done on that Islamic finance actually has been the pioneer of the sustainable development before the sustainable development has been introduced by the conventional system. Now, because of the current trend of AI and the technologies that have been introduced, so Islamic finance has been struggling with the adoption of those technologies because of the certain restrictions which were discussed by Rizwanullah, that the ijtihadi methodology, some people are not accepting it, and that ijtihadi methodology need to be embedded so that we can have a system that actually supports the technological reformation in the light of Islamic finance, so that sustainable development can be achieved. Can I further continue on the specific session-related remarks, or should go towards the presentation that have been discussed?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Saab. Now I'll request for the overall concluding remarks on this theme by Mr. Ishfaq Saab.
Thank you, sir. बहुत शुक्रिया. So we have discussing, the papers from Samiuddin Saab, Mufti Rizwanullah Kharan. मुफ्ती रिजवानुल्लाह साहब ने जो पेपर डिस्कस किया इत्तेहाद के हवाले से, ये भी काफ़ी एक इनोवेटिव पार्ट है इस्लामिक का जो हमारे पास है, क्योंकि हमेशा से एक इशू आता है कि रिजिड नहीं होनी चाहिए लॉज, और उसमें कोई ऐसी वे हमें मिले कि हम चीज़ों को, जैसी इकोनॉमीज इवॉल्व हो रही हैं और फिनटेक की तरफ जा रही हैं या टेक्नोलॉजी एडॉप्ट कर रही हैं, तो वहाँ पे एक वे होना चाहिए जहाँ पे उलमा उस एवोल्यूशन को देख के लॉज बना सकें और रेगुलेटरी और इन इदारों को गाइड कर सकें. तो ये पार्ट वाकई में बहुत अच्छा पार्ट है. जो मेन पार्ट है इस कॉन्फ्रेंस का, इस्लामिक फाइनेंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी फॉर सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट सेशन का भी पार्ट है. तो उसके हवाले से ये सारे चूँकि जितने भी पेपर्स थे वो रिवॉल्व हो रहे थे ESGs के, ग्रीन सुकूक, और इस्लामिक पेंशन वगैरह जितनी भी थी वो सारी की सारी एथिक्स के इर्द गिर्द होती हैं। चूँकि टेक्नोलॉजी अगर फिनटेक हम अडॉप्ट करते हैं तो उसमें एक जो सबसे मेन प्रॉब्लम है वो ये है कि ये एक लार्ज ऑडियंस को अवेलेबल हो जाती है और वो कहीं से भी जाके उसको व्यू करते हैं और देखते हैं और उस चीज़ों से बेनिफिट्स भी लेते हैं और नुकसान भी लेते हैं। तो ये पार्ट हम थोड़ा सा एथिक्स इसमें इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं, जिस तरह इस सेमिनार का भी मेन थीम है और रिफा इंटरनेशनल यूनिवर्सिटी ने भी इसको स्टेप लिया हुआ है कि तो ये एक बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट इशू भी है और मेरे ख्याल में इस पे मज़ीद काम भी हो सकता है। ग्रीन एक पेपर के जिक्र हुआ था जो जिन्होंने ESGs के हवाले से भी बात की और ग्रीन या सस्टेनेबिलिटी के हवाले से ग्रीन फाइनेंस के हवाले से भी बात की। तो सुकूक एक मेजर पार्ट है। अभी चूंकि कैपिटल मार्केट्स पे पाकिस्तान में इंट्रोड्यूस हुआ है, पहले ये सुकूक अवेलेबल होते थे सिर्फ। ओके, टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट है तो अदरवाइज मैं इस पे थोड़ी सी बात कर सकता कि इसको कैसे फिनटेक में इंक्लूड किया जा सकता है ग्रीन सुकूक को। ग्रीन सुकूक अभी पाकिस्तान में पार्ट नहीं है, लेकिन फिनटेक कैसे इसको एलाइन कर सकती है। तो एक अनटैप एरिया है रिसर्च के लिए भी और फिनटेक एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए भी कि इस पे काम कर सकते हैं और इसको एलाइन कर सकते हैं। थैंक यू, बहुत शुक्रिया।
Thank you so much, Faq Sahab. Now for the session's closing remark, I'll request Dr. Abdul Rashid Sahab. Please proceed.
Thank you. Keeping in view the time, I just want to make the three, you can say, suggestion, recommendations, or the concluding remarks. First, I really want to appreciate all, the presenter. They have done very good work, and their paper was very useful, and of course, they were informative. And for the one suggestion, definitely the paper should be, the more policy oriented. It means their objective should be clear, and one or two should be policy take away from the each paper. And the paper that presented their country, the case study, they must actually link what the other countries can learn from that. We are more interested to listen the, you can say, the different country cases, what we can learn, what the other countries can learn from there. And the last, because the theme of the this session is the Islamic finance and in the technology for the sustainable development. So just I want to say actually these the three the very popular words and the powerful words in these days in economics. One is the sustainable development, which actually talk about the efficiency, growth, and stability. Then the circular economy, which is based on the 3R: reuse, repair, and reproduce. And the green economy, which is actually based on the 3P: planet, people, and the profit. Now I actually see in the very different way, and I don't want to criticize Islamic finance or you can say the government policy. Just I want to leave that one actually the question mark for the the scholars, whether and why we are looking whether Islamic finance is consistent with these objective of the social development, you can sustainable development goal, or the you can say the environment and the governance, and you can say the social setup is there. It is not like that. We have to actually see whether those objective of the development the economy or sustainable and circular are designed based on the Sharia principle. If it is, then we move to forward rather than just actually looking whether Islamic finance is consistent. We need to look whether their agenda and their model, they are consistent with our Islamic system or not. Last just is there at the morning, Professor Kabir has presented very fascinating, the information. Adoption rate of the technology has increased. Three things required for adoption and any new technology, any innovations. Number one, willingness. And the willingness is based on education and information. Whether really we are providing the knowledge to our peoples to adopt. Second thing is the structure, which actually required the huge investment. The government actually do that investment. And here Islamic finance can play very role. We need to look at that, whether really Islamic finance, the facilitating the adoption of, you can say the AI, adoption of the new technology. And the last is actually the rule of regulations, whether the really different governments, they are making the rule of the regulations rather than just saying it means the banks are the using AI or system is using AI, which means that we move the forward and we have to see. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid Sahab. Now we'll proceed for the souvenirs and certificate distribution for this session. Thank you so much for your overwhelming response. I'll request Professor Dr. Khurram Shahzad Sahab to please join us in front of the stage and to be accompanied by the session chair and discussion in front, and to be accompanied by Professor Dr. Ayub Sahab and the head of the RCIB as well, Hassan Jamil Sahab. First, I'll request Samyuddin Sahab. Please proceed ahead. Next, I'll request Rizwanullah, the second paper presenter. Now I'll request Mr. Ishfaq Saab, the discussant from the ZLK Islamic Financial Services, to proceed for the souvenir. Now I'll request the session chair for the souvenir, Professor Dr. Abdul Rashid Saab, to receive the souvenir from Dr. Ayub Saab, Khurram Saab, and Hassan Jamil Saab. Now I'll proceed for the myself. Up. Now I'll request for the conference conclusion and the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee and the RCIB, Professor Dr. Khurram Shahzad Sahab, to proceed ahead and execute the vote of thanks for the conference. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Just few more minutes before the tea, we have requested Professor Dr. Ayub Sahab, जो हमारा कॉन्फ्रेंस की रिकमेंडेशंस या कंक्लूजन का पार्ट था, बिकॉज ऑफ द टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट्स उसको हम स्किप कर रहे हैं और उसको फिर इंशाल्लाह हम पब्लिश फॉर्म में आपके साथ शेयर करेंगे, जिसमें तमाम जो टॉक्स और स्पीचेस हैं और प्रेजेंटेशंस हुई हैं उनका जिस्ट को हम इंशाल्लाह वहां पे प्रेजेंट करेंगे. सो एट द क्लोजिंग ऑफ दिस कॉन्फ्रेंस, which is the 7th International Conference on Islamic Business, it is my heartfelt duty to express my gratitude and thanks to all of those who have actually made this conference possible and successful, alhamdulillah. So to start with, I'm very thankful to our chief guest of honor, keynote speakers, all the participants, paper presenters, session chairs, discussants, moderators, everyone who actually participated in this conference diligently and made it possible. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm also very thankful to the students and faculty members of all the different universities, and particularly of Rifa International University, who actually have made this conference possible by their efforts and their presence in the organizing committee and also in the capacity of the listener and participants. Thank you so much, everyone. Last but not the least, I'm very thankful to all the organizing committee members, different departments of RIFA, operations, IT, administration, procurement, then the organizing committee in the form of our CIB team, the managers club head and the team member, the students who are a part of it, who actually helped us out behind the scenes to make this conference possible. Last but not the least, I'm also thankful to the management of the Rifa International University, who have always shown their support both administratively and financially to make such events possible. I'm also very, very thankful to the sponsors who actually helped us, you can say, in making this event happen. So thank you so much. Inshallah ta'ala, we will see you next time in the next ICIB, which will be inshallah 8th ICIB in the 2027. So fi amanillah, after tea, have very safe travels. Thank you so much.